Hey guys, welcome to the 19th episode of the Melee Stats Podcast, starring me, SaveAsUntitled.
Me, Edwin Budding.
Me, Ambi Sinister.
And me, Alex Lee.
Alex, for people who may not be familiar with your work or with your name, could you give a little bit of background about who you are?
Sure. So I've been playing for about 6 years. I grew up playing and watching Melee. And for the last year or so, I've been a freelance writer writing Melee journalism. So if you've read an article about Melee in the last year, you've probably read something that I wrote. I pretty much do all of the tournament previews and recaps for ESPN alongside other stuff. Like I profiled Crush for them last year. I also write articles for Game Tyrant every week and HGC Esports. I write a lot of the blurbs for SSBM rank. So yeah, I'm a Melee writer.
Dope. And...
Oh yeah, and I had a tweet that went viral with D1 on it, which I'm probably more well known for than anything that I've written.
That's a vibe.
What tweet was that? I feel like I don't remember that.
It was like the I had to do it to him meme, except like
D1.
I added D1's head to the body of the kid using like window view on my iPhone Safari app. We don't need to get into it. It was amazing. I've never been more proud of anything in my life.
It was a pretty good tweet.
Yeah, we don't need any of those Melee articles. That's the real legacy that Alex Lee is leaving behind.
I think so, dude.
But Edwin, do you want to take care of the show like you normally do?
Yeah, so first week of August was EVO. Second week of August, which was last weekend, had Super Smash Con. And let's start off by saying that most of this top 8 was extremely whack, extremely campy, extremely defensive. And then out of nowhere in grand finals, we just get these 2 killer sets from Mutaking and Armada, like dynamic gameplay shifts, like sick combos, thrilling last stock exchanges. Is this the best Mutaking Armada like combination of sets ever? I think so. I think it might be the set. I think they might be the sets of the year. They're really sick. I don't even know where to start with them.
I mean, I think that one thing to point out is this really underlines how important it is for like a top 8 to be good to have a hype grand finals. Like grand finals are so important. Most people are probably going to remember this as a great top 8 just because of that.
I really hope they don't. They might, but like I really hope they don't. I really hope that they don't remember anything about this tournament. Because this tournament was awful from start to finish until finish. And like it was half because grand finals was good and half because it was just over at that point. But man, what a fucking bad tournament.
No, I mean I liked like losers finals too. If we're gonna name a single other set that was good, Mewtwo King 3-0ing Hungrybox.
I think both of Hbox's sets in winners finals and losers finals. I was pretty stunned by how poor his play was. It was remarkable, and I don't want to take away credit from Armada or Mutaking because I think both of them played well. But Hbox, this is like this is like mid 2015 Hbox getting smacked around by everyone.
It didn't feel like satisfying at all to watch them win. It just felt like it wasn't.
Speak
like
for yourself, dude.
Well, it was just like it didn't feel like they were out. They were obviously playing well, but it just felt like Hungrybox was playing worse, and that's why they won. Like he wasn't trying or something. It just didn't feel satisfying to me.
Did you feel that
it beat him through a wall?
Oh yeah, no, he destroyed him, but it didn't feel satisfying. It felt like Hungrybox's heart wasn't there.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of felt the same way about his losses at EVO too. And I don't know if this is just me being like brainwashed.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid, dude.
No, I kind of see that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Not as much as the SmashCon ones, but I kind of see that.
I definitely don't think we should not count the sets. I don't really know how useful that kind of discussion is. He definitely played pretty terrible both weekends, in my opinion. But let's talk about a Puff that did play really well this weekend.
Which one?
My favorite player in the whole world, Jerry. Jerry is the fucking champion. Dude, he was like second seed in his pool. Can we talk about this? He was seeded to lose to like Ferris, if I remember right.
And I think it was because hacks at a tournament that actively let him play DQ'd. or didn't show up.
Wow, what a surprise! Why would
Surprise
Haxter do that? Wow, I can't believe
Yeah,
that
I
Haxter
don't
beats you out of a
think
tournament
it
that
matters.
he.
It doesn't matter though. Jerry would have beaten Hax if he had entered. He would have.
Cascade also did really well at this
Yeah,
tournament.
Cascade beat Zamu and Juicebox.
Oh my god, Cascade! 5th in Philly, best player in the world. Cascade.
Let's go.
Ultimate puff. Dude, he definitely 10 a.m. pools up to arrested those fuckers so bad. I wish they were recorded. I know that. Oh my goodness. I bet no one in the whole world,
like,
no one in the whole world would have
at 10
predicted he
a.m.
would have beat both of those people.
Oh okay, wait,
goodness.
no, but if we're shouting out like random puffs that did well, I think 42nd deserves the most praise.
He's the third one.
I think SFAT deserves mention for getting puffed by Jerry. I think against Jerry, he got rested like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah,
it was
disgusting.
absurd. It was motivating. I want to play puff after that. I could see like the power and.
One of us.
No, I'm just kidding.
Dude,
I would never.
SFAT didn't make top 32.
Do you remember like 2 years ago when people were like, SFAT solved the Jigglypuff matchup?
Yeah, dude, remember when he was good at that matchup? What a world.
Yeah, he got 33rd. That's so
insane.
that's crazy, man. SFAT getting 32, losing in two like a matchup he's supposed to be like really good in.
But I don't think that. I mean, we can't talk about SFAT getting 33rd if we don't mention Mango getting 65th.
Mango did not get 65th. Mango DQ'd out at 65th.
I feel like losing.
You have to lose. You have to lose twice to get 65th. He did lose to Flipsy. That's a real win.
I actually think you can lose and DQ yourself.
You can't yet. I don't know, dude.
Dude, Mango lost twice. All right, he lost to Flipsy and then he lost to himself. That's 2 losses.
No, dude. That's not how this shit works.
Okay, so I don't
like. Is this gonna go down in like MPGR like algorithm bullshit? Like,
so I want to hear like each of your thoughts, like just in terms of the Mango Flipsy set. So Ambi, how did you process that loss like when it happened?
How
do you process it now?
I mean, what do you mean? How did I process it?
So, like,
how did you cope?
When I heard Mango lost to Flipsy, it registered in my mind as like the equivalent of him losing to Drunksloth and Kells last year when he went Falcon. Like that's how it registered in my mind.
It's definitely like, well, that's really dumb. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think that Flipsy's better than Mango. I definitely think that.
No one here.
Like, I don't know, like what exactly you're asking me in terms of how did I process it, right? Like were
you stunned by him losing?
No, like.
No.
It could have been.
I think that's a little full of shit. Like, how can you not be stunned?
Like, I was stunned in what way, dude? Like, I'm not like, holy shit, Flipsy. It's like, dude, he lost to an Ice Climbers. Like, he lost to a good Ice Climbers, and then DQ'd out. Yeah,
but there's a difference between losing to like Army or something, and then like, no offense, Flipsy's really good, but like, he might have been like outside top 100.
Yeah. Side note: if you're Army, you hear that Flipsy beat Mango, and you're like, fuck, because your win over Mango means way less all of a sudden. Like, everyone was like, holy shit, Army's a god, and now they're like,
no, he's actually just not good at that matchup anymore, I guess.
Yeah, Army's win out the window doesn't count towards the year-end ranking anymore.
Oh man,
because something tells me that the Flipsy win is not gonna, like, okay, here, you guys want a fun thought experiment? So Flipsy has, I think his other like PGR level wins are like
Shiz
and
Gatsu. I think he beat DJ Nintendo, but it might not have been this season. Like, okay, if Flipsy continues to go to tournaments and doesn't do anything notable for the rest of the year, does he get on top 100? I mean, hear me out. Lovage got top 100 for basically one good tournament that had a god win.
I think if it was
Bladewise also that tournament or some other tournament in the year, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
He beat Bladewise at the same tournament.
Yeah, okay.
If Flipsy beat any other top 10 player, I think it would be an automatic yes. But I think a lot of people are just going to be like, this set doesn't count because Mango was X, Y, and Z. I think if he beat any other top 10 player, he would be a lock for the top 100.
I think people will count the set.
I don't know if I agree with
you. Do you think people are gonna have that little bit of asterisk, like Mango wasn't trying or something like that? Do you think people are gonna?
I think when you're at a major and you lose like that, like I feel like that should be counted against you because he still showed up. That's the thing.
Yeah,
but he was talking about how he may or may not. I don't want to repeat anything that's not true, but I think he said he was drinking on his stream. So like, people will say stuff like that.
people aren't going to care. The panelists have to weigh wins, and they'll do it appropriately. I have faith that they'll do reason.
Like it is bad that he lost a set again. Like that is a pretty big upset, but it's also still one set, right? Like, I don't think it doesn't magically place him below Wizzy. Like that's the kind of
okay. So this is like a different discussion, but I think if you think that this makes Wizzy somehow better than Mango in terms of the ranks, you just don't know anything about what's happening. Like at all.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because sorry, go on.
I really just think that there's like literally nothing. Like there's literally no argument. Like Wizzy has like really bad losses. Mango doesn't really, except for now losing to Army, losing to Flipsy, and losing twice to Zane. Like that's it. That's his whole loss sheet. Like, come on. Like he has better records against the top players. Like Wizzy has that one tournament over Hbox where he beat him twice, but like he's still like I don't think he's positive on Hbox. He lost the most recent set. Like he's got no argument to be above Mango. Like literally none at all. He's never beaten Armada. He's never beaten Mango. Like it's ridiculous. Like if you want to put Mango 6, that's perfectly fine with me, right? Like I think that's probably where he is after this weekend. But like to put him under Wizzy is like that to me just screams like I don't know the records.
Wait, is anybody actually doing that?
Yeah,
I've definitely seen. I've seen a lot of people online.
No, people are like going insane about like how Mango has done nothing all year because he hasn't won any nationals, so he must be below Wizzy, who won Optic Arena. Like, no, like that's not how this works at all.
It is true. It's worth pointing out that the last national Mango won was Super Smash Con 2017. So it's now been a full year since he's won a national, which might be the longest Mango's gone.
I mean, like to be fair, compare him to Musiking, who has won like one national ever that like wasn't just a dream bracket for him, and that being the Summit, right? Like I guess he won.
Yeah, at least for super majors, like he won
over
smaller
twice.
Nationals.
You know what I mean? Like I think that this is like a weird thing that people have started like caring a lot about. Like in terms of like you must be below this player because you never won a big tournament, and it's like I get like the value of having a really big tournament win for like the top echelon, but like those two are definitively not in like the left in Armada Hbox tier, like in terms of like which nationals they've won or whatever. So like to say like oh wow M2K got the one national so he must be better is like that's like it's so oversimplifying the issue.
Yeah, you're looking at the outcome rather than the process that led to like Musiking got like at Summit he got the. It's weird saying he got the dream bracket because Armada historically isn't that opponent for him, but like it does help that when it came to actual bracket he got to play Marth. Like that's it.
Yeah, I mean I know that you have that feeling about his Marth.
Like he didn't have to switch characters and stuff. That's a bigger thing.
What if okay? Well, first of all, I don't even know if I believe that much about him switching characters and that holding him back anymore because he went right from playing Fox against Hbox last weekend to immediately playing Transcendently.
Well, he went Sheik before that, so that's one of the things I was pleasantly surprised about. Like he went from playing aMSa with Sheik to playing PPU with both Sheik and Marth. Then he went to Fox with Hbox, and then he beat Armada with Marth and took him to the brink with Marth again. Like that's a very I don't think that's not something that you can count on Musiking to typically do. Like it's notable for that reason that normally when he's got to switch between Fox, Marth, and Sheik, or even like Peach in years past, like usually it's not pretty for Musiking. So it's an abnormality. I don't think it's something you could be reliable about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
also just like top 8 play in general was like very sloppy. So I don't think so until grand finals or like I guess losers finals, I wasn't really that impressed by Musicing's play. It didn't like show me wow he can keep up like A+ gameplay while switching between all his characters. It's more that he saw success doing it.
Yeah, and I definitely think that Musiking is on like a big upswing right now, which definitely helps him a lot. Like I think after this weekend, he's definitely definitively number 5 if he wasn't already before, which I don't think he was, but he definitely is now.
Yeah, beating Hbox is really big. Is pretty big for him because he didn't do it before this year.
Yeah,
and being even with Armada, When do you guys think the turning point for him with that was? Because those two, they used to have close sets, but Armada would always win, or even worse, Armada would just decimate him. People say the Summit 2-0 in 2016, like in Summit 2 or something, but I remember Armada winning like 6 or 7 sets in a row after that. And at Summit 2 is unusual circumstances because judging by people I talked to at the event, King like only prepared for Armada that entire because he knew he had to play him in bracket.
I think it was UGC.
I agree. I think
it's actually a pretty good answer, I would say.
Yeah. Because at UGC, not only did like it didn't seem like a fluke thing with like the Summit win where like it was, I think partially just because of Armada being so shocked that King came out of the gates so hard with Marth, like that. I think maybe Armada just underestimated him at that tournament, but at UGC, he like they both looked to be playing well and like prepared and at the same level. And after that, it seems like it's been like a coin flip every time. So
yeah, and even the 2017 sets, the first half, Genesis 4, Evo, GTEX, those are all like down to the wire sets, and it's just it's really exciting being in an era where you see King Armada in bracket and you don't instantly think Armada is going to dominate him or win. That is about as even as a rivalry can get, or now at least.
That said, like I totally agree that their sets are freaking incredible now, but I'm also like part of me is kind of sad that like we'll never recreate the joy that I experienced watching King beat Armada at Skatar, for example. Like, because like you go into that thinking you're like it's never gonna happen.
Those comebacks with Fox on Pokemon's. I think I forget who it was on commentary, but someone said one of the few times I'll praise Melee commentary, but someone on the mic said like King needs to play perfect in order to make this comeback.
It was Prague.
Yeah, it sounds like Prague. Yeah,
but that what I'm saying is we'll never have that surprise again. So part of me kind of misses that, but it's inevitable.
I don't miss it. There's way too many hard.
I don't know if I agree, dude. Like I can imagine a future in which like Mango does it really well at a tournament, and we're like, what the fuck? Mango's capable of doing good at tournaments now. So I don't think that like the surprise factor is over. Maybe it is specifically with King, and like if you're a big King fan.
I meant with King, yeah. I think obviously like Swedish beat Armada. The surprise factor is very much still there.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of surprised that Swedish beat Armada because, I mean, like, he can't warm up with himself. So.
Oh my God.
How did he?
Nice.
I already heard this enough last week.
Oh
Don't bring this.
All right, I'm definitely very tired of talking about King. So why don't we talk about other things that happen?
I want to talk about something with I think that was a good sign that Hbox was in its best all weekend, and that's that. And not to discredit these players, but KJH and Zane took them very close, and there was a brief moment in Game 4 where I thought KJH might win 3-1. I think that was a good sign that he wasn't playing that great because I wasn't that too impressed with his play in those sets either.
I think those two sets are really like smart to point to as like, Hbox wasn't playing up to snuff.
Because it's a sign, right?
Yeah.
Well, hasn't Zane taken it to Game 5 before?
He's never taken it to Game 5 before. He's taken a game before, but he's never taken it to Game 5.
Oh, really? Okay.
So props to Zane clearly making progress based on results and in his gameplay. Like I can see he's getting better, or he's getting better versus Hbox in terms of like the actual player skill. But I think Hbox being taken to Game 5 twice by two players that he should be pretty solidly favored over was a bad sign, and that stood out to me watching the event.
Yeah, didn't he miss almost like every STI against KJH? Like those up throw up airs were just killing him repeatedly.
I mean, he definitely did tweet about it and blamed UCF for it, which is really funny. And I think Typo had a really good tweet reply at it, where he was like talking about how he's like how Hungrybox is a huge stand for those like fucking flat monitor things that like lets you play on a flat screen.
Yeah, I don't get that, dude.
And he's like, yeah, dude, this is the exact same, but like, by the way, UCF affects my fucking SDI. It's like, no, it doesn't.
His SDI, like, it wasn't UCF, but it was bad all weekend. Like, he missed almost every critical SDI against Armada and King in their last two sets. And I mean, I imagine it just would have been a huge swing if he'd been on that. I mean, you know, think about like GTX Grand Finals like last year.
I completely forgot one thing to point out about Hbox. There is a slight chance, I can't confirm it, that Hungrybox was afraid of the Jigglypuff Ditto on Dreamland against Mutaking.
Oh, no.
And that's just,
Dude,
it's just hilarious. He was afraid of Puff Dittoing Mutaking.
Hey, I don't know if I agree, but he should be, because
no, he shouldn't.
I think Mutaking is going to be the best Jigglypuff in the world.
Oh god!
It kind of reminds me.
Screenshot this.
Hbox and Toussaint were projected to play in pools last weekend, but that didn't happen.
They played it this year.
No, they played. Hbox won.
Did anyone hear anything? Well, like, was it as close as it seemed to be at Summit, or was it like a wash this time?
Toussaint got super downloaded, which was kind of the same as what happened at Summit. It started out really competitive, but then like got not competitive.
Got it.
Toussaint lost to Mac D, who came out of nowhere to do respectively at this tournament and show up.
Ambi, not to backpedal a little bit, but I think you would know more about this. How hard is it to hit that SDI on like the up throw up air? It's kind of like a complicated question. Usually you can do it with like 1 or 2 inputs. It really does depend on like the way the Fox does the up air though, because like the Fox can sort of like drift the up air mildly in order to make it more or less difficult. Like if you imagine like Puff is like here, and like Fox does the up air like a little bit to the right. Like if you SDI to the right, like you're just going back into it, and it's really hard to get out. But if you go left, it's really easy. Likewise, if you're like a little bit left and you SDI left, like you're going back into it. So like this sort of a mix-up B type of situation. Hbox I think always goes up, which I think might hurt him in the long run. But like you know, the super high level strat is like to read which way they're going to do it, and like most people like a SDI in against the up air the same way that like they've been taught to by the famous Kirby Kaze guide, where they DI behind and then SDI back in the same direction. But it's like it's really hard, and like you can like if you have the Uncle Punch back, you could go in and try it, and it's like surprisingly difficult to SDI every single time. Even if you do get the SDI input, like very often you'll get like 1 or even 2 inputs out, and like the CPU Fox will just hit you both times, and it's like, oh shit, like so it's like it's a little bit both ways. I have to watch the set because like I don't know if like he got it on DI behind every single time.
He pretty much DIs. Yeah. He pretty much doesn't DI every time.
Yeah, like if you don't DI it, then it's like I don't know if it's super feasible to miss it every single time. Like the correct thing to do is to do DI behind and then SDI back in. But like it's like a little bit more complicated than people give it credit for. It's not just like do it every single time.
Okay.
Ambi, aren't there like doesn't Mango use like 6 or 7 different timings on his up throw up air to try to throw off Hbox? Does that have anything? Don't a lot of I mentioned Mango as an example, but don't a lot of the the top 6 Fox players have just a bunch of different timings that they try to alter to throw Hbox off?
I'd have to look at it a lot more closely. Not that I immediately know of that comes to mind, but like that wouldn't surprise me if so. Like I definitely think that like of the Jigglypuffs, I don't think Hbox is like the best in the world at the SDI. But I don't know like how good Foxes are at the up airs because it's sort of hard to tell.
Something that I've heard, and I don't know, I mean, to be honest, like I don't think any of us have any way to confirm this, but like something I've seen thrown around is that all the top Foxes, not even that like switch up their own timings, they just have different timings. So like Mewtwo timing is just different.
Mewtwo is really fast.
Then Plups, so like so going from one top Fox to another can kind of mess up Hbox's SDI timing because their throw timing is different. But I mean, I don't know if any of us can confirm that.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but like it is like very difficult to recreate the same timing over and over again, like between players, because you gotta like just think about it in terms of the fact that you almost always need to do a double jump, and like the double jump can come some number of frames out, which like affects the speed at which you get there, which is like, of course, it'd be different for everyone, especially if you use the same timing like yourself every single time. Like you're gonna jump on frame 9 or frame 15, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it's very feasible that all of them have very different timings, which is probably why it's like more difficult for like quote unquote professional players to get it every single time, because it's not like the same input every single time, the same timing after you get up thrown. Like you do have to use like a lot of visual reaction.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. As a casual Melee player, I didn't understand it was actually. Well, I'm just not. I'm not good like Ambi is. Ambi's like an actual good player. I just play casually, but
good as
he's okay. He's okay.
Relative to me, Ambi's a god. But I actually had no clue it was that like in depth at that. I was always curious about it too.
You know, the game is really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of stuff like Ice Climbers players who go on massive losers runs after losing the Ice Climber Ditto for like the 99th time of the year. I'm referring to Army, who lost to Drunksloth early and then beat a slew of opponents, including Zane and Rishi and a bunch of others.
Army in top 32 bracket ran through Rick, Android, Ice, Zane, and Rishi before just barely losing to Pew Pew U. Can you imagine if he beat Zane, Rishi, and Pew Pew U in a row?
He would have whooped the Marths.
And then he would have had Mewtwo King. So he could have done that.
Oh man! I've been saying this. I think Army's gonna lose to Mewtwo King, or Army's gonna beat Mewtwo King at least one time before the year's over. I think it's like guaranteed.
He would have.
Depends. Does Mewtwo King go Ganon or does it go...
No, it goes Puff. Come on.
Go Peach.
I'm really glad Army didn't beat Pew Pew U and Mewtwo King, because you just know that there would be like a Reddit thread of shitters going like, Ice Climbers obviously beat Marth now. Like, I feel like people already say that because of these results, but to be clear, Marth poops on Ice Climbers.
Dude,
yeah, I mean, most characters poop on Ice.
Army destroyed Rishi. That was kind of funny. Rishi, I think he kind of lucked out in his bracket because of all the dropouts, if I'm not mistaken. But
Rishi, Luna, Jake and Shaken, Frenzy, and then Army.
Yeah, I think La Luna was probably his best win. But yeah, the fact that he played La Luna in Losers Round 2, and then his next rounds to get in top 8 were Jake and Shaken and Frenzy is.
Dude, Frenzy got the 9th run by beating Drunksloth. What a god.
Yeah, so I definitely
and over Triforce. I think he beat over too. So
UK is too good, man.
I definitely think that the really interesting thing about Army's run was actually beating Android. I feel like this is a more interesting topic of conversation. I think that Android is really, really good at that matchup, which is weird because he's a Sheik player, and normally that's like not a matchup that Sheik players are good at. But like more generally, I feel like Sheik players from Europe are really good against Ice Climbers. And I have like literally no idea why. Maybe it's just because like they all have to play platformy and like a lot lamer because they don't have down throw, and like they have to learn to play it that more often. Like I can't think of an actual reason.
In Android's case, it's because he plays with he played with Johnny Fight a lot.
Yeah,
like
when
they were both getting better. As far as aMSa and
Over is also really good at it too. Like I know he loses to like shoot at sometimes, which is not a good look, but like. He's still good at it.
Against Sheik. That's one of the few matchups we can rely on.
Yeah. No, he does some. Shoot does some real shit in that matchup too.
No,
this one thing that he does a lot, which I think is just wild. There's like really this famous clip in my head. It's not like actually famous, but where like Shu is like shielding and he's like facing away from Over, and Over like jumps and does like a fair on shield. So what Shu does is he does like a short hop at a shield like right before he gets hit. And then ASDIs it down.
Damn.
And then Shu hits him with the fair.
That's so stupid.
Over hits him with the fair. Like he's at like 0%. So like he gets hit with the fair, he lands, he's turned around and he grabs. And he just immediately starts wobbling. And it was very deliberate. And like he was like midway through the wobble before Over even had any idea what was happening. He was just like mashing, like what the hell just happened? Like he just jumped out of shield. That's something that got wobbled. But yeah, she has a lot of stuff in that matchup.
But if you want to talk about why Android did well against Army, I think, like you said, it was in large part because of his platform game, but also you got to shout out his needle game. His offstage needle gimps on both Popo and Nana were actually on fire. That set. Did anyone else watch it? I've never seen someone needle Nana so consistently like that. I was really impressed.
I saw Android versus Flipsy, and that was pretty convincing. Also kind of funny that Flipsy would beat Mango at this tournament and then get like, what, 33rd, 49th or something?
Yeah, who did he...
He lost to Android and then Mojo. I wasn't surprised by him.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking of the Flipsy set when I said the needle games were really good.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch I don't know if the Army one was streamed, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think
it was.
No, I was talking about the Flipsy one. I just, you know, they're all the same.
Drunksloth also had a really strong run. He beat like the three Spacies, right? Absent Page is one of them. He beat
Uncle Mojo.
He beat Mojo. What?
He beat Mojo. Oh no, Absent Page beat Mojo.
No, he beat Absent Page. And then he also beat Army and IBDW and caused IBDW to talk about going peach in that matchup.
And he beat my boy Vortex too. Shoutouts to Vortex.
Half of Team Handsome. Shoutouts to Icy.
Yeah, shoutouts to both of them. Vortex is also like I actually had a pretty good run at this tournament. He 3-0'd Ginger, which is totally no surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Ginger's been slacking.
Well, Vortex is also just really good against Falco.
Yeah, he's got some good wins in that matchup.
He's
like one of the first people to beat West Balls. That became common.
Shiz, he beats Lint pretty often. I think Vortex is actually one of the most unknown players who I think deserves to be top 100 this year.
He was just outside of it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, right?
This year he was just outside of it.
I thought
he's been right out that range for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if he was a H honorable mention or something, or even if he made it, maybe.
No, he didn't make it. He probably is on my belt for top 100.
Yeah, I was saying I think he's like right on the outside.
He was 107.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Vortex is the consummate hidden boss because I think he's at this level, but like really very few people know who he is except for his West Balls win. Like no one really knows anything about him. I know lots about him because we're from the same town, but most people don't know anything about him.
Apparently New York didn't know about him either when they let him play at the NYC Arcadian.
No, everyone we knew he was going to win the moment he walked in the venue. But he technically had never been ranked, so like he had to be allowed to play.
That's not true.
That's dumb.
This is what I can't deal with Arcadians, dude. This is what I don't like.
Wait, Ambi, do you not like Arcadians or something? I've never heard you talk about it.
Ambi, you can't create these arbitrary rules like, oh, like if you haven't been ranked,
it's an Arcadian.
But you're still
the whole
good.
point is arbitrary rules.
It's not arbitrary.
Like, dude, you're really good. You can't play at this tournament. Like, that's what this tournament is. Like, it's a tournament for people that aren't good.
Hell yeah.
Dude, you're good. Why are you playing here?
That would be so upsetting. I've never been to an Arcadian that was like, ranked players can't play, and also like this one guy we know he's really good. He's never been ranked, but he's so good he can't play either. I've never been to an Arcadian.
You should have
where
seen the
said,
rules
the
for the Philly one.
Arcadian.
The Philly one was a mess. Yeah.
No, dude, the Philly Arcadian was actually good. The Philly Arcadian had some rules. They put the hammer down, dude.
Yeah.
People that had never been ranked but are clearly ranked skill, they weren't allowed to play. You had to clear it with the TOs.
This is actually Andy's way of stealth bragging that he wasn't allowed to play at the Philly Arcadian.
Oh my god. Leave me alone.
I read through that. Don't think I know you.
But
I know you.
Some like guard player from like Texas win? Like that they didn't catch?
Yeah, okay, that was fun.
Yeah, that was kind of
they didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
It's no big deal. I mean, I probably would have been banned from the Philly Arcadian too. You know, I mean, who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, I only went like 1 and 6, so I should have been banned.
Oh, dude, you after the Arcadian was so fucking funny.
I was so mad.
You're fucking.
Melee.
Oh my god, you made like 15 videos about up and coming Ice Climbers players and about how amazing they are, and then you play Ices for the first time in your life and you get wobbled 8 times. You come into our Discord, you're like, fuck this character. I can't believe this.
Welcome to Melee.
You're so carried by wobbling. I can't even understand. I'm so angry.
I've been wobbled before, but he was so bad with Sopo. Like I would have rocked
We've been
him.
there, Save. Don't
yeah,
worry.
no, it was a humbling moment to realize. Like, yeah, I understand why people despise Ice Climbers now. I felt it in my soul. Fuck Ice Climbers.
Speaking of Ice Climbers and getting back to the topic of discussion. I do think that Drunksloth over Absent Page is an incredibly impressive victory for Drunksloth.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have predicted that.
AP's just not good against 2-on-1s. He should stay away from doubles.
Wow. Okay.
But no,
I knew what you were going for.
Yeah, that was a good win.
Ambi, were you surprised at all by IBDW being Westballs and KJH?
No, not really. No. I definitely think that like it's a pretty good win for IBDW, but like, Westballs has been sort of underperforming at these larger events, and IBDW has been doing pretty well at these types of events. So like, seems good. IBDW also really good versus Falco from what I've seen. I'm usually pretty impressed by his gameplay in that matchup, and him winning the Fox Ditto is like not a big deal to me. Like he's, you know.
Dude,
like,
poor KJH, he went from almost beating Hbox to getting 17th. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, like it's not like holy shit, KJH, like what are you doing? Like you know, I think IBDW is a pretty strong Fox player. I think that like the Ditto in particular is pretty volatile. I don't think it's like that huge of a deal that you lost a Fox Ditto to like someone good at the Ditto.
No, I agree.
What's kind of a shame is that IBDW is going to be stepping back pretty seriously from Melee after this tournament. I think this was sort of a last hurrah of sorts.
He's going to law school, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
He's in the chat right now.
I never believe people when they say that. I feel like he'll go to things. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
I was pleasantly surprised by Junebug defeating IBDW right after.
I was very sad, and I ate a bunch of ice cream because I was sad.
The Sheik player
yeah.
defeated Fox.
At least he lost to Lucky. But
yeah, but think about how fun it would have been to watch IBDW versus Lucky.
Look at Junebug's run. He beat Darktooth too. He beat 42nd. Or no, he didn't beat 42nd. That was Darktooth.
Who did he play in winners?
Almost beat Zane. He got reverse swept by Zane in a shocking upset.
He beat Sand. Dude, look at all these players that Junebug beat that play Fox. What a ridiculous idea.
That means do you think he won the impossible matchup or the impossible matchup 2.0 in either of those sets?
Dude, I don't want to do this. I don't want to hear you talk about this anymore.
I don't know. Junebug is always one of those players. Like he's every time we've seen him at a notable event, he's always impressed me. And I know he has like reservations about competing mega long term because he's not always in the right mindset for it. But I can't think of a performance this year that has been like underwhelming from him. He always just seems to rack up new wins at like. Now, granted, like it could be easier. Maybe if you go to less events.
Yeah, SmashCon was his first major this year, unless you count Pound Underground. Nah, Pound Underground.
No, it's bigger regionals.
Yeah, SmashCon was his first major this year, so makes sense.
Here's a good question. At one point, if he goes to another major, at what point? How close are Junebug and Shroom to each other?
That's actually a really interesting question.
I think
it feels really fucked up that you're asking this, but it's actually
but Junebug's like he's legit.
Yeah. You could say that Junebug is above Shroomed right now. He has better wins than Shroomed, no doubt, this year.
And like Junebug, hold on, I had a thought about Junebug. Oh my god, no, it just left. Oh,
who has Shroomed beaten? Like
he beat Absent Page, the Nega Fox player. Absent Page beating Duck and beating Crush and those kinds, and then losing to like Swedish Delight and Shroomed.
Yeah, Shroom's got Westballs, Duck, Lod, KJH,
opposite of what you.
Blade-wise.
Also, I just want to say, like beating IBDW as Sheik is really difficult. He's super strong and like on both the midweight matchups, like Sheik and Marth and Floaties. So.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't like the second best player in Minnesota / the longtime best player in Minnesota a Sheik player?
Ben?
Yeah, so you'd think that Absent Page would be better at the matchup than he is.
I don't know if Ben is better than Slayer right now, or even like $100,000, but I know he's like top 5 in Minnesota. So, but that's talking about players that no one else knows.
Slayer, I don't think Slayer's ranked in their last power ranking for whatever reason. Like either he's inactive or just immediately started sucking really hard. Probably the former, but I don't want to count it out.
Okay, so Cody's in the chat right now. So he said, "I'm Ass versus Ices." No, when I'm talking about floaties, I'm talking like peach puff. I'm not using it. I'm not using Ices.
Ices aren't even a floaty.
Yeah, results.
Just the fucking ice climbers.
Like, results.
They're their own category. They're wobblers.
Sorry, IBDW. Results definitely. I would not say you are good against ice climbers, but maybe your peach can do work.
Oh no.
Dude, I'm sure. Peach is so easy. I actually don't even think that Peach does substantially better than Fox in that matchup. It's just like an execution thing. You really just don't have to think about much matchup that way. I was talking to Calvar and like Red Rover about this a little bit. You can really just do like a lot of fairs and shit.
Red Rover definitely it would be. She'd say, I can imagine her like glee and.
She got really mad at us when she said you just need to do fairs because she does like a bunch of other shit, but like for secondary, all you need is fairs. I think.
Shout out to Red Rover.
Yeah, she's good at that matchup too. She had a really close tie with Army at one of the locals that she went to. I remember watching it. I mean, it's a really funny story. Apparently, after game one, like Army had to do this like crazy 2-stock comeback where he got 2 wobbles at really low percent, and like he kills her, and he turns to her and he goes, "What the fuck? Who are you?" Like, let's go.
What'd you guys think of Swedish getting like 25th a week after beating Armada? Losing to Ice and Mike K, because he lost to Mike K's for like the 5th time. Which
well, he called that
yeah
on this show, so we can't be that surprised. Okay,
yeah.
But he went Peach FD game 2. That was bizarre. Do you guys did he give any insight as to why he would do that to you?
I talked to him before last week about because he brought out wanting to bring out Peach against Wizrobe at Evo, which I thought was just kind of absurd. I certainly told him that, but I don't know. Some people have different opinions on what they think gives them the best winning chance.
I think Ice. I mean, you know, he did okay, but I mean, Ice has probably the best run he's had at a tournament in recent memory at Super Smash Con. He beat Gatsu the round after he beat Swedish as well.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of another time that I've seen an Ice run and actually been impressed this year.
Ice?
Who did he end up losing to? Army?
Yeah. 3-0.
I know Ice did really well at that one European tournament, right? Where he beat like literally everyone. He beat like Triff. He beat.
Yeah.
He had that one really good tournament.
He also beat Hugs at Gommel, which I was shocked by.
But Ice is going to be at Air 5 next weekend, and I'm looking forward to talking about that too, because the projected bracket for that's pretty exciting. But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. There's like too much to unpack about SmashCon because it was such an awful tournament.
Do we want to talk about Pew Pew's run? You can say no if that's what you want.
No. Let's talk about Swedish Delight. Wait, did we talk about him already? Yeah, I think we did.
We were just doing that.
Let's think.
Come on, Ambi.
Calvar lost a Dark Tooth. That feels bad.
Why don't you want to talk about Pew Pew?
No comment.
He was the beneficiary of the Leffen dropping out. I mean, he's still gaining victories.
Jenkins, we can talk about that guy.
Yeah,
that's acceptable. Jenkins had a pretty sick run. He beat the strongest puff in the world. Gary.
Wait a second.
He beat Kaon also.
Yeah, that's a good win for him.
And then he got
Sane
handed to him by Rishi. Yeah. He got absolutely demolished by Rishi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Rishi, yeah, but it's a cool run for him. What do you get, like 13th?
Yeah, and he didn't beat only Spaceys.
Yeah, that's the really cool thing about that. Beating Jerry as like a Spacey Slayer Marth is like really exciting, I think.
Yeah, but Marth beats Puff, so you know it's not that impressive.
Yeah, didn't you see that one set that PPU won against Hungrybox that one time?
Apex 2015.
Look, Eric, I'll argue with you about Puff matchups for hours, dude.
Oh man, you should have seen like me and Calvar and like that group of people like at Evo like sitting in front of the stage when fucking PPU was playing Hungrybox, and we were like, I bet he's gonna do it. I bet he's gonna do it, and he didn't do it. I was like, no, he never does, dude.
I do actually think that Marth is perfectly fine in that matchup, though. I think Zane versus Hungrybox last weekend showed us all the strengths that Marth has in that matchup.
Yeah, getting Phantom Rest.
Yeah, well, like Marth has ×2 modifier on his likelihood of getting Phantom Rested compared to all other characters.
Yeah, they ported that straight from.
I don't complain about the matchup. I think it's fine.
No, I mean Phantom Bates. The Marth complains about Phantom a lot.
The Marths? You mean just one?
Yes. He speaks for all of you, dude.
Oh, no. Don't say that. It could always be worse for Marth players. For Armada aMSa, did you guys catch that set?
I did. I didn't. I honestly was. I just don't find that matchup very exciting. I hate to say it. I think it's a brutal matchup for Yoshi, but I just like there weren't really extended combos neither side. They're both tanks. It was just watching them each tank a lot of neutral hits, and then Armada getting clutch kills every set.
So that's fine and all, but the fact that aMSa almost took Armada to game 5, and there were moments in the set where it actually looked kind of winnable for him is just absurd, considering like our initial conception of Yoshi back in like late 2013, early 2014. If you told me he was actually gonna kind of give Armada a scare back then, I would have called you a fool. It's just absurd.
I'm surprised it was that close. Like I saw that coming up. I was like, okay, I can go get some snacks. Like this isn't going to have a chance. But he almost took the game 5.
Yeah, he went to last stock game 4 and was actually up, I think.
Damn.
Significantly.
Okay. Hot take: Armada is bad versus Yoshi.
Are you gonna say because he lost a game
to
dropped a game at Nevi?
Yeah. Yoshi is one of Armada's worst matchups.
That might be true.
Maybe, but we won't know.
Such a small sample size.
Look, I'm just saying, if I was on the last week's podcast and I was asked that question during the Melee Stats speed round, I would have said Yoshi.
Probably would have got the point.
That would have been such a Neil deGrasse Tyson answer.
Yeah, that would have been such a weird answer, dude.
Oh my god. How about one that he plays?
It's a good answer. I like it. That's why Edwin grades it, not me.
What else?
aMSa got 5th place, which is super dope, but like didn't upset anyone to get there. Like it was entirely expected for aMSa to get 5th place at this tournament.
He didn't upset anyone. Did you see his set with Jerry where it looked like
as a big win? As a
Jerry
big win.
might win the set.
Oh my god.
Dude, how funny would it be? Same year he beats Hbox, Jerry beats him.
Oh my god.
Hot take: Hungrybox's worst matchup is Yoshi.
Nah, I don't like that. That's ridiculous.
Everyone's worst matchup is Yoshi. aMSa's a good player. He's sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit unfair to hold it against aMSa for not upsetting anyone, considering that there's like 6 people that he can feasibly upset at any tournament.
And
no, I'm not holding it against him.
There's also like 6 people he could just lose to and get 33rd at an event.
Oh yeah, bro.
And he also looked really good against Mewtwo King. Like he was right there with Mewtwo King for the entire set. So,
I think he was there game 1, but like games 2ish, Mewtwo King started to pull ahead, and then 3 and 4 I thought looked pretty solidly. And it's like Mewtwo King remembered, hey, I don't have to approach. I can hold my ground.
You know what that reminds me of? I'll tell you about R2D versus Qerb.
Yeah, I think you might.
I'll mention the story just for people that don't know about it. So, I am a connoisseur of one specific set. It might be my favorite set of all time, and that would be a Swiftbass versus Qerb Super Nips. Let's see if I can find the link. But it was just like one of my favorite sets ever because Swift is like really good at this matchup, and you wouldn't expect Swift to be really good at Fox Game & Watch.
Wait, he plays Fox, not Marth.
He played Fox against.
He plays
Qerb.
it like a mini puff. Like he shoots.
Yeah, and like
good in that
like
also.
Imagine Jigglypuff, but you have 1 jump, 1 double jump, no shield, and you can't L cancel any of your. And up air is a lot easier.
And
so like
it works 1 out of 9 times.
Yeah. So if you think about it that way, there's a really specific way that you might want to play this matchup. And Swiftbass
is it a Super Nebs 3?
Super Nebs 3.
Yeah, I have the video up.
All right, hell yeah. So he like never moves forward the whole set and just like runs away and lasers. And like you have nothing as Game & Watch against that because you have to approach, and like the only thing that you have as Game & Watch is like doing things to call people moving forward. So he just does this the whole set and like just like punishes landing lag because you have like 10 million frames to punish landing lag. And like I remember watching this and be like, I know how to play the matchup now. This is great. But R2D had to play Qerb, and like at one point I showed R2D the set. I'm like, dude, you have to see the set. It's so funny. And he has to play Qerb at game 1. He fucking loses, and like I'm so mad because I'm watching him, and David plays so passive, and he's moving forward against Qerb, and I'm like, you fucking idiot! Don't move forwards. That's not what you're supposed to do. And game 2, he just starts doing this. And he just destroys him. He like 3 stocks in games 2 and games 3. And I go up to him afterwards and I'm like, dude, you stopped in week 4. That was so great. And he was like, yeah, I lost game 1. I'm like, all right, Swift. And I'm like, yes, let's go, dude. Oh man, I love that set.
That technique doesn't actually work against Game & Watch because Game & Watch can absorb lasers with Bucket and get a really good kill move, and I refuse to listen to any arguments against that.
It's pro Fox propaganda.
Everything that comes out of Ambi's mouth is pro Fox propaganda.
It's always pro Fox. It's pro Fox propaganda, or like slightly, like you have to really read into it, but it's there. It's all there.
No, it's like a psyop that low key gets you to believe in Fox.
I'm definitely like the cult leader of Fox for sure. I sound so reasonable when you listen to me.
I gotta say, this Super Smash Con, not a good tournament for Fox.
Or at all.
Stop.
Look at you. Ambi is like got a tear in his eye saying Lucky go out at 7th. He's like, well, I'm gonna go back to training on Uncle.
At least you didn't lose to Junebug. It could have been worse.
Dude, we could have seen Junebug.
That would have made me so mad. Oh, well, then I'd be rooting for Junebug for sure. But I'd be sad that he Lucky. I dislike Sheik a great amount.
Ambi, what if Fox? Do you think there's a possibility that Fox is not the best character because of this tournament?
Okay, well, not because of this tournament. This is like,
yeah, no, I know.
You can't trap me in this conversation. I have a very reasonable opinion about this topic, but you're gonna.
I'm deliberately asking this because I want to see the Puff main and the Fox main go at it.
No, but you know that I think Puff has a very good argument for being best in the game. So I'm not the best Puff main.
Aw, boo.
I'm a realist, dude. I mean, this goes into what we were talking about earlier about, not in this podcast, for people watching this podcast, about the idea of like theory-crafted perfect melee versus the melee that we all play. And in the game that we play, Puff could very well be the best character. I think in like theoretical melee, Puff is not the best character, but that doesn't matter. So
I don't know. I think
I feel like this is a really
substantially if there were like more than 3 Puff players. Because like it's like Yoshi almost, in like a weird way. In that like it's hard to say like which matchups Yoshi wins and which matchups like aMSa is really good at. Because it's like it's very difficult to know what is like the objective truth of the matchup. And it's like it's sort of easy to average out like Fox players, like because there's so many of them, right? There's so many of them that you can like get a feel for like which matchups are good and which matchups are like not as good. But like for Jigglypuff, for Yoshi, even for some of the other characters, like it's hard to know, and like a lot of it operates on like speculation. So like a really good example is like Jigglypuff versus characters that aren't Fox, because you don't see that very often. Like you think about like Marth versus Jigglypuff, and it's hard to know whether like that one time PPU beat Hungrybox, like was that actually like him showing people that the matchup is winning, or is it just like that one fluke time that you lose to a Marth in a matchup that's like super free for Jigglypuff? Like it's really hard to tell. And like there aren't enough Puff players that are like at that high of a level for me to really definitively say which matchups are winning and which matchups are losing. But like I definitely think it's reasonable to think that like Puff wins every matchup. Not that I believe that, but like if you just like look at the game, right? Like if you were plopped into the game and didn't read any social media and had no idea about anything, you'd probably think Puff was pretty good at almost every matchup.
I mean, the results also just like clearly back. Like we have years of experience seeing, and obviously like it's not entirely concrete because like you're saying that there's just so little being able to tell what is indicative of the matchup.
I actually agree. I mean, I disagree really hard. Like if you just drop yourself in the game with no knowledge, it's obvious that Puff is good. I think that's really not true. Like I think it took years of labbing and learning different
I mean
setups.
Plopped into the current meta.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like if you like took someone and like made them sit them in front of like a bunch of sets from 2018 and didn't tell them anything and then told them to make their own tier list, they'd probably put Puff pretty high.
Yeah. I
didn't tell them like, oh yeah, this is what happened. Like not like day one at the game or and like you know, you can do really well with Jigglypuff playing a short amount of time. Like Jerry is a really good example of this, where like he was a really good Fox player for a really long time. He picks up Jigglypuff for like 3 months and plays him at like every local, and then like beats SFAT at this tournament. And it's hard to know like how much of that is just like, wow, Puff is really broken. Like you could play her really quickly in like 3 months, you're able to beat SFAT. Like that's ridiculous. But it's like also like how much of that is Jigglypuff being good? How much of that is Jerry being really well suited for the character? And how much of that is just like things that we didn't know about Jigglypuff being more apparent in the meta? You know what I mean?
Also,
like,
how much of that is just one set? Like
yeah, you know, there's too many question marks because there aren't that many Jigglypuffs, and it's like.
Something the idea of Jerry being well suited to the character brings us something that came to mind when I was thinking about him earlier, which is that like so we know that Jerry picked up Jigglypuff so we didn't have to focus on melee practices hard, so we could get good at Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Fighters, whatever you say. And I think there's something to be said for the fact that like skills and fundamentals in traditional fighting games carry over to Puff, I think way better than they carry over to most other characters in Melee.
I can definitely see how the strengths would manifest itself in Puff, especially because she's such a like, I don't know if it's like footsies, but she's so like positioning and zoning.
I think you can compare that to fighting game footsies.
But like but like on the counterpoint, which is what a lot of people are a little unreasonable about online, but like the whole idea that like Hungrybox is like base fundamentals, like it just like as it compares qualitatively.
I don't like this at all.
Do you not buy that at all?
No, I don't. I actually just don't buy it at all. Actually,
I fully agree with Eric.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any transfer between these two at all. Like I guess the idea of spacing, but like I don't know.
Oh, never mind. I disagree. I thought you were saying something.
No, Eric, I'm saying like, do you think Hbox is like the convert? Like if Jerry's fundamentals carry over into Puff, like what do you think? Like I'm saying, someone who would claim Puff is really good would say something like, "Well, Hbox doesn't have great fundamentals, so he's still able to win with Jigglypuff," or something.
Yeah,
like
that. I definitely don't.
Don't worry, we'll be back in a second. Discord just crashed.
That's what happened.
Okay.
Can people still hear us? Are we like audible?
No, we're still live.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Ambi, go on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hbox,
I don't know if fundamentals is really the right word. Because I think that a lot of it probably has to do with like the idea of execution test is very, very strong game. And I think that Jigglypuff is really, really powerful at that. And like to me, like imagine saying like this might be like my quote unquote Fox main propaganda shining through a little bit. But like imagine someone saying like, man, I think Ice Climbers are really fundamental because the only thing that you have is the neutral game. And like you have to be able to, you know, like Yomi layer your way to the tech rolls, and like you don't have to worry about being good at neutral game or at punish game because you have one punish for every single time you win neutral. And like to me that feels disingenuous, right? Like I don't feel like the strength that comes from Ice Climbers is really necessarily about the fact that like you can put all your points in the neutral game. I think it's more about the fact that it's very difficult to be good against Ice Climbers, and likewise very difficult to be good against Jigglypuff. I think it's more to do with an execution thing than it is with a strict fundamentals thing, and it kind of irks me when people say that because I don't think it necessarily applies.
So are you disagreeing with the idea that like fighting game fundamentals carry over? Because I think, just to expand on that a little further, like you said, Jigglypuff is an execution test character in both directions. I say this as a Jigglypuff main. Mm-hmm. A lot of getting good with Jigglypuff is just learning what all the different rest setups are in each character and knowing what to do in certain situations. Like if you grab Fox on Battlefield, there's basically a kill setup you can do with any up throw DI, depending on where they go, what they hit. And I think more than Melee, I think in a lot of fighting games, the punish game is also an execution test. You know, like you just watch the direction they move, and you know the series of inputs you have to do. And so the hard part in a fighting game is winning. I'm simplifying hugely, but the hard part is winning neutral, because the punish is kind of just like knowing what to do in X situation and having those inputs kind of like built into your hands. And that's what Puff is too. Puff is like struggling to win neutral over and over again, but then once you win, you have like execution test-esque punish game.
Yeah, I think that we're using the phrase execution test to talk about different aspects of the game. Like to me, I think a lot of the neutral game for Jigglypuff is execution. And like I know like a lot of this is like veering off like personal opinion or whatever. Probably not why people are watching our podcast, but just to like briefly talk about it a little bit. I think that a lot of Jigglypuff isn't necessarily like, wow, I'm gonna really outplay my opponent in this one neutral interaction. It's like, wow, I'm gonna do this thing that you have no answer to until you try swinging at it, and then I grab you. I think a lot like comparatively to fighting games, like the particular reason that I think that this is like not very applicable is that baiting is very, very difficult to do in fighting games. Like if you ever play like a 2D fighter, like I haven't played very much, but like one thing that like sticks with me whenever I play them is that it's very, very difficult to get away with swinging. Like if you swing, you get hit. Like it's very punishing. You take a lot of your life bar just for missing something. So like if you swing like at like some nonsense distance and like make people think that you're unsafe, like and then get them for it, like that's like a really big achievement in like a 2D fighter like Street Fighter V or something. But in Melee, that's like very, very normal, right? Like to swing at something and then to not be punished for it is like a huge, huge part of the game. And I think that Jigglypuff is like really, really strong at that specific thing, where like you can put stuff out that like has almost no risk to you, but has potential reward, like very, very low risk, very medium to high reward, which I think is very, very rare for fighting games in general. So I don't like the idea of it being super fundamental. But that might just be me. I don't know. Opinions.
Kind of on a different tack, I also think the idea that I've seen propagated on the internet a lot that Hbox is like, I mean, Leffen says this, like the idea that Hbox's like fighting game skills are worse than other top players is kind of a dumb thing to discuss just because it's so difficult to quantify that kind of thing. But
well,
I've
that's
seen
what
that
I was
idea
referring to before. So
right.
I want to see what like because you guys are both play the two like Fox and Puff, like the matchup that pretty much defines the top level of the current metagame. I guess that's what I was hinting at before, but Ambi, I think you kind of answered my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I'm saying applies. Like I think like Hbox is obviously like a skilled player,
right?
But I don't know. Different things matter, I guess, when you're talking about this with different people. And I think that like probably Leffen, more than most other top players, really, really cares about that a lot more than other players. Like Leffen's whole playstyle is built around the whole like player to player like interactions, like winning, making dates, being clever, doing the right thing, flowcharts that are really strong. Whereas Hungrybox doesn't really feel like he's got that going on. So like I think just like playstyle wise, the two really revolt each other. And probably why Leffen has that opinion about Hbox. But I don't entirely disagree with Leffen.
Okay,
it's up in there, I guess.
Alex, do you want to get the last word on this before we move on?
I mean, I want to preface everything by saying, like, we are all players of varying skill, but what unites us is that we're like unfathomable leagues worse than both Hbox and Leffen. So discussing like the level of skill that they have seems really nebulous and almost pointless for us. But like straight up, I think Hbox is just a really skilled player. From playing Jigglypuff, I know that most of the difficulty of playing Jigglypuff doesn't come from technical inputs. Like, we know that Jigglypuff isn't a technical character. That's not what I talk about when I'm saying skill. But like, his situational awareness is incredible, and I think just because he's not good with other characters doesn't mean he's not skilled. It just means that the kind of skill he has is the kind of skill that is rewarded by playing Puff most.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum it up.
And that's why I think like you can't really discuss what skill even is. And I also think like people saying like, oh, but Hbox's Fox lost to Armada's Young Link, he must suck. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. You know, we don't know what it means for Hbox to play Fox or how his skill engages with it.
Just if I could like get like one more word in, sure. I think that like specifically, what I was trying to get at earlier, wasn't necessarily that I or even like Leffen thinks that Hungrybox isn't skilled. I think to say that would be really ridiculous, right? I just think that like the things that Leffen cares about in Melee are the things that Hbox has put no points into, and like that's fine. Like he's got no obligation to be good at those things because he's like trying to win, not trying to like be the player that Leffen would really appreciate playing against. But like like I said, like Leffen is like a player that like obviously is interested in the fighting game mechanics enough to be good at multiple fighting games, whereas Hungrybox just wants to win at Super Smash Brothers with Jigglypuff. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. I just this was sort of divorced from the original combo that we were having about like whether Jerry was good at Puff because he played fighting games, which was like sort of what I was talking about. Well, like I don't think those are really
Jigglypuff's like prominence in the metagame and whether like just how people evaluate her by using Hbox as a measuring point.
I really feel like Hbox is a very bad measuring point for Jigglypuff, if you want my opinion. I think he's like really, really good at stuff that Puff isn't super good at. And I think he's really terrible at a lot of Jigglypuff's strengths. So it makes it really confusing. Which is like annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Do you guys want to move on to the Melee stat speed round? Because I think we've kind of...
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this. I'm waiting to do this for my whole life.
Whole life. Whoa. Well, okay.
Mr. Host.
All right. So, in case most of you guys know the drill, but basically, I ask 5 questions. The panel gets about a minute to give their answers. At the end of each round, someone gets a point. The person with the most amount of points at the end of the game gets a minute to talk about whatever they want. And when I say minute, I mean like loosely a minute, just basically some vague period of time. All right.
All right.
So we'll start. Over the last year and a half, which rivalry has led to the most exciting sets in Melee?
Wait, hold on. What time period?
The last year and a half.
I mean, I need to think about this a bit because it depends on what are we talking about, just gameplay? Because on one hand, I find the interpersonal rivalry between Hbox and Leffen to be very entertaining, like outside the game, but inside the game, I would have to give it to, and this is my answer, Armada and Mewtwo King. I just both just seeing Mewtwo King's growth in the matchup, and I think since UGC, the matches have been consistently exciting down to the wire. They show everything that I love about Melee.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my answer to this question is Calvar versus Frostbite. I definitely think that like Calvar is like freakishly good versus Ice Climbers and very scary, and like Frostbite comparatively is like sort of average in his own region, but like for him to be like emerging as Calvar's ultimate rival at Marth versus Ice Climbers is really like a Cinderella story and a half.
My meme answer is Hungrybox versus characters that aren't Fox, but my real meme answer is Hungrybox versus Melee Twitter.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give it to Ambi. All right.
Yeah, no surprises there.
Wait, hold on. Just, also for clarification, like, have they played more than 2 sets, or did Frostbite just double eliminate Calvar once?
They played 3.
They played 3, and I think Frostbite's won all of them.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Puff and Fox disappear. Who is the best character?
Yoshi. Yoshi's the best character, even if Puff and Fox reappear. Yoshi's just the best.
Wait, no, the answer is definitely Sheik. There's no answer that's not Sheik. So like I know that coming from me, this is probably ridiculous, but like those are the matchups that Sheik's complain about. Like all Sheik has to do is be good against Ice Climbers, and all you have to do to play that is to play PAL your entire life until you play an Ice Climbers.
No, dude, it's Yoshi. It's Yoshi. Yoshi can parry. So Yoshi can literally parry anything except for multi-shot.
Parry this grab.
I think it's Marth, because Marth is a good character, right, Edwin?
Stop sucking Edwin's dick.
All right, I'm gonna give it to Ambi.
Damn it! I was gonna get that.
Right. How would you guys see this? How would you guys see the top 6 right now?
Plop 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 plop.
You got to start with. I think Armada's got to be number 1 right now, but it's close. But Armada would be seated first.
Well, number 1 is Mewtwo King because he won Summit, and that's really important. 2 is Leffen because winning Evo is really important. Wizzy after that because winning Optic Arena is really good. And then I guess it really doesn't matter after that point because the rest are going to DQ.
My actual answer to this, that's not a meme, that doesn't count for the speed round. Speed round's all about memes. Is Armada, Leffen, Hungrybox, Flup, King Mango. But yeah.
Alex, you never filled it. Alex, you said Armada first. What would you do?
Yeah, I would give it to Armada and Leffen on the top 2 as well. I think that's like pretty obvious, honestly. Number 3, Hungrybox, also obvious. I mean, it just seems pretty clear cut to me. Armada, Leffen, Hungrybox, Mewtwo King, Plup, Mango. It's hard to say with Plup just because like he dropped out of SSC and obviously his performance at Evo was kind of weird. But if you're seeding based on who you think is most likely to win the tournament at this moment in time, that's what I would order.
Okay, Ambi gets the point here.
I Save won the point there. Give my point to Save.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does Europe have a Smash Super Major in 2019? And I define this as 1,000 entrants with at least 4 gods attending.
I said this before and I'll say it again. They get 1,000 the moment they drop PAL.
Oh no. Oh no, not this again.
The answer is no, because there's no way they're going to get 4 gods next year. There's like no way Mango's going to Europe next year.
Yeah. No.
And there's also no way Mewtwo King's going to Europe. They're just not going to get enough gods. I don't see a 4-god tournament happening.
Yeah, I definitely think 4 gods is a whole lot harder than getting 1,000 entrants. Yeah, but PAL sucks.
Ambi gets the point here. Wow, 4-0.
This is bullshit.
Alex, you're going through the waves that everyone jumps the speed round.
Compared to the average person in each field, what is Mango better at? Playing or commentary?
Playing.
What?
Commentary, because you can't get wobbled on commentary.
But you can.
Compared to the average person in each field, what is Mango better at?
Dude, I don't know.
Do you know how many people play Melee? Do you know how many people talk?
This is a farce because I've given the logical and obvious correct answer for every question, and I haven't gotten a single point. So I refuse to even entertain this. I refuse to entertain this meaningless exercise anymore.
No, this question's bad. Since I'm going to win this point, I give the point to Alex. Now we're 3-1.
I'm the only one who gave an answer. Give me the point.
The whole point was that this was supposed to be a funny question because it was poking fun at the complaints around
I didn't
commentators.
make fun of you, Edwin. Give me the point.
But clearly you guys didn't get it.
I got the question.
It did not hit.
Give me the
goddamn point. But that's okay
point.
because no matter what happened, Ambi pretty much destroyed you guys in this speed round. So
who got the last
Ambi.
point, Edwin? Who got the last point?
I literally didn't say anything, so if you give me the point, I would be really upset.
No, I would give it to Alex. Alex managed
there we go.
Alex was standing his ground.
I'm ending the stream.
I reject this point.
Right,
give it.
And,
Edwin is
you get
muted. There we go. Cool. I think the show's better this way. Okay.
Wait, can we debate the second question more? Because I actually think
we can talk about it after I get my.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay.
I really don't have anything to say. I'll be real. I thought this would be a lot more of a challenge, but luckily Edwin just gave me a bunch of really easy questions that were like already the setups to jokes, and I was just the first person to jump on them. So shout out to the speed round for being literally free and me being like the GOAT of Melee stat speed round.
I actually think Wheat is the only person undefeated in it. So next week.
Aside from that, Save, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
If you please open this image that I just posted in the chat on the stream.
In the stream chat? Yeah, I can do that. Oh no, it went in the wrong place. All right, it actually showed up right where your icon is on the screen.
Really? That's awesome.
Perfect. God bless. It's just a fox chilling.
With 15 frames in full. It's definitely my favorite pause screen that I've taken in a really long time. So, really good.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I'm disappointed. I thought the commentator one would at least garner whatever.
Yeah, no, that.
I was too salty.
That question was pretty bad.
You guys actually gave me like a legit answer. I thought it was gonna lead to like a whole discussion on whatever.
Okay, but the real discussion that came out of this is it is not obvious that Sheik would be the best character if Fox and what was it, Fox and Jigglypuff or whatever? No, are not in the game.
Yeah, Fox and Jigglypuff.
I think Yoshi actually has an argument for being best. We don't know.
Wait, so why would you
that
say
doesn't
Yoshi
sound like a good
answer?
argument.
If Yoshi is a big question mark, then that still doesn't like help.
Because in theory Yoshi is like undefeatable. In 20XX, Yoshi just like parries everything.
Well, that's
and
like
wins.
perfect melee. Like that's the hypothetical melee.
Isn't that what? Yeah, but we were talking about melee without Jigglypuff, so
it would be pretty perfect, actually. Yeah.
Damn.
No, I definitely think that Yoshi, even if he was the best character in the game, in a world with no Fox and no Jigglypuff, would just lose to Wizrobe every single time. And that would make people not believe that he's the best character. So he won't be the best character.
I think it would be
thinking about it. I think he does lose to all of them, except for Yoshi probably beats Ice Climbers. He definitely loses to Sheik. He definitely loses to Peach.
Like who does Sheik struggle with? Like maybe like just Ice Climbers? That's two of her hardest.
Yeah.
Yoshi's even with Jigglypuff, but I guess it doesn't matter since Jigglypuff's not in the game.
Jigglypuff's gone, dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
Puff and Fox.
Yeah, you're right. Shit.
I'm surprised no one said Falco at all.
Falco loses to every other character that's not Jigglypuff and Fox. Those are like his two good matchups, I think. What's he gonna do? Like get down smashed by Peach?
Save, you're the Falco here. You gotta defend your character.
I don't know. I don't. No, Falco's garbage. It'd be nice having Marth gone though, but Fox and Jigglypuff.
No, Marth is there.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. The hypothetical doesn't have Marth, and now that's a good world to live in. Falco, you'd have to remove a lot of characters for Falco to be the best character.
That's not true.
Do you have to remove that many characters?
How many characters do you have to remove for Falco to be the best character in the game?
I think Falco actually would have been a decent answer to the theoretical question.
I don't know.
I mean, because I think Marth does beat Falco, but I think Marth would lose hard enough to other Melee would certainly be a more balanced game if Fox and Jigglypuff weren't in it. Because there would be no character who just definitively beats everyone else, then that's obviously the best.
Dude, can you imagine the Marths if Fox wasn't there anymore? We'd be lost.
Yeah, you guys would all suck at the game. Oh my god! Can you imagine?
It's a horrible world. We need the Fox players.
Actually, you know what? I was wrong when I said there wouldn't be another character that obviously beats everyone else, because Marth does obviously beat everyone else.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he.
I honestly don't think he does.
She could be the hard one.
She could be annoying. Yoshi would be annoying.
Oh yeah, wait. Yoshi
I think he probably. Yoshi and Pika are so low data, but I still have faith.
Potentially a hot take, but I think Samus is kind of annoying for Marths.
Yeah, no, it can be annoying, but he definitely.
I definitely think Marth has winning matchups on all these characters, but they're really slight. He doesn't really have any winning matchups anymore if you get rid of Fox.
Like Peach, he does great.
Falco.
Oh, Falco, I could see in either direction. There's so much of that's generally it can be there's so many checkmate situations where you feel helpless as Marth against Falco, but I definitely see why Falcos hate the matchup. And there's a lot about that's kind of uncertain because it's so high variance.
Wait, hold on, I'm gonna be right back.
Right. Oh, don't leave! No! Oh, just put your phone down. No.
Rip.
All right. Do you want to move on to Heir without our Alex Lee in tow?
Yeah, sure. So Heir, biggest European tournament ever, I believe. 700 and something people, a bunch of Americans flying out to it. It's probably going to lead to Armada Leffen as usual in winners finals. But just a really cool note. We've talked about European majors before, or really large European tournaments, and gotten an entire continent mad at us in our first
Not
episode.
Not mad at us, just mad at Ambi.
It's mad at me, dude.
Yeah, we enable you.
Yeah, you guys definitely do.
So, have your thoughts changed at all about it? Where do we start with Heir? Just first talking about the significance of European or what this means for Europe at all.
This
I know
this tournament is always amazing. I'm really sad that I have a full-time job and I could not go.
I would have loved to go this year. I know.
I think of the 2 tournaments that I would go to if I could go to any 3 tournaments would probably be Don't Park and Heir.
We should have gotten Aiden on. Aiden would have raved about Heir.
Yeah, probably. He loves that tournament. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be really cool. I definitely think the results are always really interesting. I'm really glad Hungrybox is not going because Jigglypuff and Pal is really terrible. Welcome back.
Thank God.
Alex, we're talking about Heir, what it means for European tournaments, just general thoughts about it.
Alex, how do you think Jigglypuff does in Pal?
I mean, better. Because other characters that normally do well against Jigglypuff are worse, though. It's not like Jigglypuff gets buffed, but like Fox up air or up smash not killing as early is obviously a huge boon. Falco Dare not being what it is obviously huge. Like, I think minor things like that make Jigglypuff better, but I don't think Jigglypuff automatically becomes like a god character in PAL or anything.
Are you guys excited for the Leffen Chillin dude rematch?
Are we talking about Heir right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I don't know if I missed this, but there are actually a few sets at Heir that I'm really excited for. The 2 that stood out to me are projected top 8 qualifiers: Westballs versus Triff and S2J versus Ice. Rematch of the chair match.
I think Westballs is going to actually.
Yeah, I heard people saying that. Ambi, I think we were talking about this with like a group of friends, and that so many people were confident that Triff was just going to beat Wes. Isn't Wes very good in that matchup?
I don't know if I'd call him good at that matchup, but he's definitely good enough to beat Triff, I think.
But I think it would just be a good set in general because we don't.
Yeah, no, that is.
We just don't get to see Triff against high-level players that often, and I think it would just be cool to see him against Westballs. That's all.
And every time we've seen him against that kind of competition, he's always done like a little bit better than we thought each time. Mm-hmm. So it's not even as if he's meeting expectations. He's actually just exceeding them each time.
I also feel like historically Westballs does pretty well in PAL, which is kind of interesting because I think his character is nerfed really annoyingly, but I think that I'm usually impressed whenever he goes to Europe.
I know he loves traveling there.
Yeah.
He had that stretch in like late 2016 when he went to a bunch of European tournaments.
Here's a more interesting one though. The match immediately before that on the opposite side for both of them is Westballs versus Mahi / R2D and Triff versus Nebby / Nikki. Both of those I think are more interesting than Triff versus Westballs, which is saying a lot. I think that's a really interesting match.
Triff versus Nebby. I mean, we obviously know that.
I think he can do it. Yoshi's the best character in the game.
He took a game off Armada, so
he took a game on Yoshi's. I don't know. Yeah, Yoshi versus Peach on a stage like Dreamland or something just seems like such an uphill battle.
Yeah, I definitely think Yoshi loses, but I don't know, dude. You think that
I want to see
the best
Mahi
character in the game, right? It's a big question mark. Yeah, Mahi Dilu thing is particularly interesting.
It's Mahi, right?
I don't know.
I don't know whether it's Mahi or Maye or how.
Maye.
I've heard Maye, so I don't know.
Shout out to Blaye.
Blaye gave me advice at a local in like 2016 and helped me beat. I think so. I don't live in Boston anymore, so I couldn't say. But
yo, we have a Humpe, I think Humpe Toph. Humpe or whatever.
I don't know how to pronounce it. That's fun to say.
Also,
is Stacks at this tournament?
Stacks is the Connecticut that. Okay.
Yeah, he's that guy. I have no idea who he is, but I always see him in the Connecticut Discord, so he's probably cool.
I hate to say, but I don't think the Leffen Chillin dude rematch is going to happen because Chillin's going to lose to 6 the round before.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Oh no, he's not going to lose to 6.
I think he's going to lose to 6, dude.
Hold on, I know
6 is really good, but
you want to bet money on this? I will bet you.
If they play in bracket.
If they play in bracket, I will bet you $10 that 6 wins.
1-1.
Wait, Eric, are you taking this bet?
No, I'd bet 6 would win also. I think
Are you guys kidding me? Yeah, I'll take it easily.
All right.
Chillin dude grew up playing against a
Shake it.
Link.
I don't want another one of these situations where someone says that they bet something and they didn't. Alex is trying to shake your hand. And
no, I'm shaking your hand right now.
Let's go. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
If Six and Chillin dude play bracket, Chillin will win that. $10.
All right, dude.
Clip that.
$10. You have Venmo? I'll Venmo you.
Yeah, you will Venmo me when Chillin do 2 O's or 3 O's or whatever.
God damn it!
It's Chillin. Like I know it's funny to like meme about Chillin getting worse or like having, but like this is a Fox versus a like Chillin has years of playing all these like weird matchups and weird characters. He can win with Samus.
He's gonna play Samus and lose.
No,
it'll be so funny when he goes Samus against
He's not gonna
Link.
do Samus Link. Chillin is knowledgeable enough to know that he wouldn't like try that.
Do you think Chillin would go Samus against Leffen if he made it there?
Chillin
would be amazing.
Chillin Sheik would beat Six. I have full faith in Chillin.
All right, dude. Well,
disrespecting
we'll see.
Money's on the table.
We'll
We're
see.
going to talk about another European low tier player who's coming out for this, who I'm really excited to see. Tech.
Low tier player.
Yeah. Dude, oh my god, I feel bad for SJ has to play the 2 Puffs, Prinz, and
Dude, I can't wait for his tweet. I can't wait. Every single time he has to play a Jigglypuff he's never played before, he just tweets about how lame they are.
Dude, when he almost lost to Edge, but then whooped him in the last game, the tweet was like, God, I played the lamest Puff ever.
They're always like lamer than the last. I remember it was about Dudesai, and then it was about Squibble, and then he played Squibble and he made the same tweet, and then he played that guy Evo and made the same tweet.
Also, S2J has a history of dropping sets to European Jigglypuff players. Didn't he lose one to Maxi? Or what? British...
European Puffs? I completely forget, but I know he lost to Michael earlier in the year. So
S2J also dropped, I think, a set in winners. He may have been drunk to a British Puff player.
Actually, wait, Sechi's here. Sechi is gonna beat Android. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
I'm definitely very bullish on Sechi. I think he's gonna have a breakout.
Sechi is sick. I wouldn't be surprised.
Gonna beat Android. He'll have a 3-2 set versus aMSa and lose. And something else will happen. He beats Chillin dude /6.
It's not gonna be. You guys are disrespecting Chillin so much.
Dude, Chillin's a commentator. He's not a player. Six would beat any commentator. Six beat Homemade Waffles, so obviously he's good at the commentator matchup.
It's true. I think you're sleeping on 60. Six is.
I think Six is awesome. He's like the best Link in Europe. Maybe the best Link in the world.
He's the best Link in the world.
Yeah, you're sleeping. You're sleeping, dude.
I'm not sleeping. You guys are disrespecting like the top 20. This is.
Oh no! You want to make it 50?
Yeah, I'll make it 50.
Oh no!
Oh, shit!
Oh,
I'm not actually. I'm not
no! Don't do that.
I'm so confident in Chillin.
Oh god.
Okay, how about this? The winner of the bet. Not only does the winner have to give the other person $10, but they have to buy. I want to say. French fries for the other person from that shitty commissary at Shine.
Yeah, absolutely. All
right. Okay.
I'm game.
Yum. I'm drooling at the thought of the French fries I'm going to be eating at Shine right now.
I can't wait till Edwin wins this, and then a year later he's the Today in Smash Edwin won this bet and tweets out the picture of the French fries.
If Chillin wins, I'll enter Smash 4 lane bracket at Shine. For Smash 4.
Dude, I would never. That's like committing
the run back.
What if Chillin like loses before playing 6?
Then the bet's off. But you have to know in your heart of hearts that Alex is right, and that he definitely would have lost to 6 if he lost to the guy before 6.
Exactly.
If 6 doesn't get there, then it's also null.
Right, but if 6 doesn't get there, I don't have to know in my heart of hearts anything because he's a low tier and he probably just got janked out or something.
Yeah, like we don't even know if 6 is gonna beat TimeMuffin.
TimeMuffin is hella good.
That's true. That could happen, but
I think both of them. I think if TimeMuffin beats 6, he's also beating Chillin. I'll bet that. I'll bet that one.
No, I'm not gonna bet on a Fox Ditto. Get out of here. Fuck out of here. I'm not betting on Fox Ditto. Speaking of Fox Dittos, I feel like we've buried the lead here. The little Leffen Armada at this tournament. Leffen's pretty solidly favored, so I'm gonna assume that all of us think Leffen will take this tournament, or no?
Is Leffen? I thought I heard whispers that he wasn't gonna go because he was still sick.
I think he'll go. He might not.
I wouldn't be surprised if he went like Mewtwo or Marth or some shit.
That would suck. I really hope he doesn't do that.
All right, it wouldn't be so bad. I like Leffen's Marth. It would suck not seeing play Armada, but it is PAL, so it doesn't matter to me.
So if Leffen played Mewtwo, where does his run end? Because I think he beats Fuzziness. I think he beats...
He plays Mewtwo or Marth?
Mewtwo.
I'm pulling up his bracket right now.
He loses to aMSa. He beats Chillin. He beats Fuzziness.
Yeah, see that?
He definitely is also beating 6.
See, that I'm willing to entertain. Like, Leffen's Mewtwo, yeah, I'll probably take that ahead of Chillin.
So wait, are you saying you would take Leffen's Mewtwo over 6's Marth?
You mean 6's Link?
I mean, yeah, Link.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would take that also.
It's Leffen's Mewtwo.
I would too.
I want to see Chillin making top 8 on win.
He definitely he prof with his Mewtwo, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, wait,
he's pretty good.
Prof with me, like, doesn't Prof have experience in that match?
Yeah,
in another game.
What if the only things keeping SJ from beating Armada was the more difficult Gentleman and higher stun weak knee in NTSC?
Yeah, just all he needed was to be nerfed, and then
all he needed was lower stun on his weak knee, and all of a sudden, like, he would have hit that knee Genesis, and the Genesis set would have won. I'm just saying, I actually think that an S2J versus Armada rematch at Air 5 is both likely and an exciting prospect.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah, go.
Leffen gets at least second in this tournament, no matter what character he goes.
I don't think I think over Triforce beats his Mewtwo. I think aMSa.
I think he dodges over Triforce. I think he beats Westballs with either of the 2 characters.
Oh,
S2J does not lose to any of his characters besides Fox.
I don't think he beats Westballs or S2J.
I could definitely see a universe.
He can definitely do it, Marth. I think he can do it.
They played
Westballs
this year in West 1-3-1.
Yeah, West beat Marth.
Falco Marth. I think Leffen's Marth is really good, but
it's an outside shot. I just think it'll happen.
I can see it, like, if West SDs or if West, like, is tilted by Leffen selecting Mewtwo.
I think Westballs is gonna have a really good tournament. He's gonna beat Triff. He's gonna beat Triff. He's gonna beat Wes, or he's gonna beat Johnny, and then he'll lose to Leffen's Marth.
No, don't do that.
For 3rd place at the tournament.
Us Westballs fans have had enough. Stop.
Eric, you want to make a bet on that?
No.
No. I'll bet you 1 to 1,000.
No.
What
do you think of? I don't think Leffen, because the thing is, Leffen's Mewtwo also has to run to probably Ice, right? I don't think Ice is.
Yeah, I think you could do that.
He could probably do that.
That was the reason I thought he.
They've, like, played that matchup in tournament before. And
have they actually? All right, maybe I'm full of shit.
Yeah, definitely full of shit.
There are some
Mewtwo Falcon could be, like, you can kind of, like, a Falcon definitely wins, but Mewtwo's got some stuff. Yeah. Famously at Genesis 2, if you want to use a
this is a fucking dumb conversation. I can't believe I brought this up. This is not happening.
Famously at Genesis 2, Hax had a really close game of Marth Falcon with Taj, which Taj ended up winning. But Taj switched to Mewtwo and just kept teleport camping at ledge, and Hax had no clue how to deal with it.
Sounds right.
So
okay, hold on. To get on track, to not be talking about Mewtwo anymore.
No, I kind of want to keep talking about it.
I don't know, this is fun.
There are some other very exciting players who are showing up to this tournament that we haven't mentioned at all yet. So I'm just going to list names that if any of them sound interesting to you, then, like, by all means. I'm excited to see Mint. I'm excited to see Fuzziness come out of basically retirement to compete in this tournament is also so exciting.
Dude, I think Fuzziness is gonna lose to Baxon, the god.
Oh, that's
Baxon,
not even an upset, dude.
Baxon is sick. It's disgusting that he was seated lower than him.
Dude, yeah,
I remember
love
seeing a
Baxon.
list of like PDMD's favorite Falcos or something,
he's nasty.
And he mentioned Baxon, and at the time I didn't know who he was. I was like, "Who the fuck is Baxon?"
Dude, Baxon created the combo video that kind of got me into Melee, the Pot Father 2. I don't know what that name really
that's
means.
deep knowledge right there. That's like.
Listen, this is crazy. I've never told this to anyone, but like there was like he made this music video or this combo video called Potfather with this like techno track on the background. And for the first year that I entered tournaments, I would listen to that techno track in my tournament matches.
There's another Baxon combo video that I know that I cannot repeat the name of on stream, but if you searched it up, you could find it.
I'm assuming the worst. I'm assuming he used like racial slurs in the name of his combo video or something. Like,
not a racial slur, but it's just fitting of the era, and we don't have to talk about it.
Oh, I found it.
Yo,
does it share?
Yikes! I'm not gonna get that one.
Yeah.
Does it share a word with a famous Norwalk combo video by any chance?
Yeah, one of them.
All right. Can we talk about how Reno is projected to beat Frenzy?
Oh, that's not happening.
Yeah. Why is he projected to beat Frenzy? Frenzy like just beat over.
Maybe they thought this was Icon.
Is Frenzy verified on Twitter, dude? There's our answer.
Is Tech gonna get to SJ because he has to beat Zoller or Pipsqueak? Yo, can this be the run from Pipsqueak?
He's a wild card. We don't know how good Tech is because he doesn't really enter singles that much anymore. I love Tech. Tech is super sick, and I hope he does well.
I just googled that Ambi.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah, no, definitely no.
Jesus Christ! Wow.
Don't.
Wow.
All right,
yeah.
How many? Do you think Armada could win this tournament with Sheik?
Yes, easily. Especially if Fleffen goes Marth or Mewtwo.
If Fleffen went Mewtwo and Armada went Game & Watch, how do the results of this tournament change?
They don't change at all.
I always need an opportunity to throw in something about Armada's Game & Watch ever.
Yeah, dude, you're his biggest fan. Definitely the biggest Game & Watch fan of all time.
I'm definitely Armada's biggest Game & Watch in particular.
Okay, to be more serious, I think that Armada's Game & Watch would probably lose to Prof, and then make a pretty decent losers run. He'd probably beat Vanity Angel with Game & Watch.
He definitely beat Tech and Prinz, right?
I don't know if he'd play them, but maybe.
We haven't mentioned Prof at all, actually, and he's a pretty guaranteed top 8 placer at this tournament, I think, because he's actually
he's got a really good
lately.
bracket. He's gonna be over for sure.
You think that's a certainty?
Like,
I think so too.
Like certainty, like no.
Because the thing is, if he loses to over, he has to play likely Ice to make or SJ.
Yeah, that's rough for him. But I think that he'll be over.
If he beats over, he's projected to then play Vanity Angel for losers qualifier.
Yeah,
that's kind of
I think he'll win that pretty handily. I would say
he typically wins that.
They're from the same like general area, so they play like a lot.
I will say though,
I think that Prop's maybe beaten him one time, or Vanity Angel's beaten him like.
But I don't think he's gonna be playing VA because VA is projected to beat Tech in the previous round. But if I had Tech,
that's
VA,
not happening.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
I would choose Tech. So
I will say though, the gap between Prof and the rest of the UK is like shrinking. It used to be really big once Fuzzy retired, but like this year, I think the traveling Nevi won a tournament over him, and Vandy Angel became like one of a very few people to eliminate Prof as a UK player in his home turf. So definitely I would keep an eye out for the other UK players as well.
By the way, I just switched to no headphones. Is this okay? Like
yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of see Heir as like the first course of Shine. That's my take on it. No offense to Heir or anything. And maybe comparing Heir to like alcohol would be more fitting rather than comparing it to food. But like I don't know, to me, Shine's the big event, and Heir will the service that it provides for me is telling me who between like Leffen and Armada to. Well, no, Armada's not going to shine though.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think
he's
so.
not.
Well, I don't know if it's confirmed. I have the entrance list, but I do think that this tournament is not very, very important for like rankings or whatever. Because I think there's a very high probability that Leffen doesn't go a serious character, because it's PAL. I definitely think PAL sets. This is probably a hot take. I definitely think that PAL sets should probably not count at all for SBM rank. I think in an ideal world, I would split EU rank.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. This is like started at the focal point of the conversation. But I think it's like less important. I think it's a smaller tournament relative to like Shine. And I definitely think that like the point of Heir is for like the attendee, not like for the spectator. So I think that like it's sort of not aimed at us. I think it's meant to be a really fun tournament. And one that's really exciting to attend, which is why I'm like so tight that I can't go.
Yeah, I wish I could. If there was an event in the summer that I regret not going to, Heir was one of them, but it just would have been tough to balance it with everything else.
Yeah. We could talk about the very, very hot take that I just dropped.
Okay, can I give my thoughts on that?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a precedent in competition for like there to be a difference in playing conditions between matches that are counted for the same ranking. And the example that comes to mind is ATP tennis.
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
The tennis rankings are based on matches played on like
all services, yeah,
5 services, but it's still like it's still the same game, in a broader sense. And I think you could compare NTSC and PAL to
like court and to clay court and like hard court or grass court.
But I'll say that exists in tennis because each of the Grand Slams still carry the same or similar amount, maybe not same, but the similar amount of significance, and they're viewed as that by competitors. Like no one is a.
I think it's already like that. I think it's already like that for Melee though. I don't think anyone's gonna like point to a PAL tournament and be like, this is really important. This is almost as big as Evo. But like I do think that that's probably a really good point. Is the different services. I think it would be nice to have an America only rank. Just because I think that it's way more clean. I really liked Europe's rank. I really did. I think that like when I did my own stats project for the big article I wrote, I only used NTSC sets because I didn't want any of the data being polluted by PAL, which is like slightly different matchups all the time. But like I wasn't using that for like ranking or anything. So I do think Alex brings up a really good point with the services.
What matchup do you think changes most in PAL? Versus...
All of Jiggly Post matchups, all of PG. All significantly better for both of those two.
Okay, but I don't like. I agree that it does change like individual matchups, but I think you look at all the big PAL tournaments last year, and if you just look at the bracket and imagine that it was played in NTSC, I don't see any of those tournaments changing significantly. And I would need them in front of me to know, but like, I don't. It would be so difficult to pinpoint the situation where like, oh, like he won this set because it was PAL, you know. And I think the fact that to me that's not so clear cut means that it's okay to include them within the same ranking.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough.
There's so many other things, like, do we not count matches played at Flatiron 3 because they were played at a higher altitude and thus players got like worn out more easily? Like there are different conditions in and out of the game that affect all the different sets that people play.
Yeah, so, I think it's a lot more dramatic that like you need like 20% more to kill with up air with Fox than a high altitude. Like I guess that it's like
and I'm sad that like
well, okay, so I could definitely rant about PAL. I definitely do think it's a bit more significant than the altitude. But man, I just really hate PAL. Like I think this is just gonna go back to this. Like it goes back to every single time we talk about PAL. It's just like, oh, it's so much lamer. Like every character has their favorite thing removed. Why would you play it? Like it's so lame, dude. Like you can't weak knee with Falcon. You can't just like throw out a dare with Falco. You can't up smash spam with Fox. Like
you can't can combo.
You can't combo. You can't like. Oh my god! Like, why would you play Pal?
Wait, so Ambi, just to clarify one thing earlier, how come you don't buy the, like, so I don't buy the services thing because that still assumes like equal importance across the, like.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I don't think it does. But more to the point, I think that the point that like, at least the way that I approach ballot making is that different tournaments have different levels of importance, and for me to not count PAL tournaments at all within this services paradigm is a little bit different than counting them as quote unquote normal tournaments. Like, I think Heir would be like a really big regional in my head if they were like the same, if it was just NTSC, and them being on like slightly different services and like counting European tournaments opens up a lot of players to be included without just like acknowledging the fact that they're different quote unquote surfaces that they're being played on. So like it's a fair analogy.
Okay, Alex, can you give me your take on why you don't think that's fair?
So two things. First of all, I think your point doesn't necessarily hold water because while it's true that all the majors are weighted equally, and I only know this because I'm a tennis nerd, but like there are smaller ATP tournaments that are played on other surfaces, like.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Rebound Ace and Hartrue that are not the same as the 4 surfaces that majors are played on, but like those tournaments are still counted towards the ATP year-end rankings. So like obviously they don't count as much as the majors, but they're still counted. And also to me, I just like not counting PAL tournaments just has like the other obvious drawback which we haven't discussed, which is that it would kind of be devaluing the experience of like thousands of people who play on that game, on that version of the game, and like would probably want to feel like their tournaments mattered. Like if PAL tournaments didn't count towards top 100, then like no one from America, no top players from America would ever go to the majors in Europe, and then maybe because there wouldn't be as much top player support from American players that people want to see, more people from the local scenes wouldn't go, and it would just have this potentially would have this domino effect where it just kind of like hamstrings the European scene in general, because the rankings matter a lot. It's weird how much people care about them nowadays, but it's like the driving force behind a lot of people's decision to go to tournaments sometimes. So that's like a whole other consideration.
Okay, I think I see why that your analogy makes more sense now. I was thinking just the grand slams, but the bringing up the small other tournaments definitely bring. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So who's going to win this event? I'll say Leffen if he tries, Armada if he does not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else would disagree with that. Yeah, it seems
very. Except for 6. I feel like 6, if he's on fire, he just take the whole thing.
Dude, he's so good. He's the best in Europe.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be a very run-of-the-mill tournament. Kind of, like you said, the preview for Shine.
But you know what? I think after Evo and Super Smash Con, a run-of-the-mill tournament is fun.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I don't want to refer to it as run-of-the-mill, but I see what you mean.
Like what we would expect to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless everyone drops out.
All right, let's see if chat has any questions then. You can even like talk to us, ask each of us individually questions, ask us as a panel. We can also just talk about whatever anyone has on your mind.
I'm down to talk about like Smash esports journalism if anyone wants to talk about that. No pressure though.
Alex, you're a little quiet without the headphones though. I was gonna say it earlier. Yeah. So.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You guys get to see my eyes now. But I said I'm down to talk about like Melee / esports journalism if people want to, but no pressure. It's just what I know most about. But that's fine if you don't want to.
If you could buff one player to the top 6 level right now, who would you pick from Fair?
Myself.
Silent Wolf.
You pick Silent Wolf over yourself?
I might pick Dark over myself also.
Hold on, wait. Dark as in the fox from Chile, or
the fox from Chile? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not buffing Mask Dark. No thanks.
Mask Dark be going like top 2 in doubles again.
Easy answer. 6, because then I would get.
Just for $10 in fries.
Hell yeah, dude!
It's worth it.
Oh my.
No,
I think myself is probably my 3rd answer. Behind Bring Silent Wolf back. I'd rather have Silent Wolf back.
That'd be pretty dope. He just comes out of nowhere, still top 6.
PPMD.
Yeah, PPMD comes back at like at the second half this year and is #1. He learns like everything. That'd be sick.
Well, who do you knock out of the top 6? Are we all?
Mango's already on his way there.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Well, I would knock Wizrobe out of the top 6.
Fuck you.
Shut up. Ambi, do you want to? Wait, no, we already talked about this. Yeah, I think my answer would be PPMD, definitely.
That's a good answer.
If not myself.
Another one. What character would you guys like to see get more playtime in tournaments? From Korthos Fellerin.
Link.
Fox.
Shut up, Ambi. Get out of here. That's a mute.
Honestly, probably I would want to see Falco more.
Yeah, I would also probably pick.
The bird's cool.
But if I can't pick Fox. I definitely would not pick Dr. Mario. A couple people in chat are saying Dr. Mario. No,
I know someone who is vocal about wanting Dr. Mario, so I'm not gonna entertain that answer anymore.
It's weird to say Yoshi. I feel like we see so little of high level Yoshi, and I just would like to see more in general.
That might be great in theory, like, oh, we get to learn more about Yoshi, but dude, like, you gotta sit through more Yoshi sets.
What? I think Yoshi's dope to watch.
Nah, I'm with Edwin on this.
I don't want to see Yoshi.
You guys aren't ready for the truth of Yoshi. Like, Yoshi's tools are all defensive. Literally, all of Yoshi's tools are defensive.
Real talk.
You guys don't see it yet, because you're still consumed by the hype that is Yoshi.
Yeah, real talk. Yoshi is mega lame.
The future Yoshi...
Coming from a Marth main and a Fox main, calling other characters lame. All right.
The future Yoshi is armored double jump stalling on the top platform over and over again. And
Yoshi has no future.
Throwing eggs on the ledge,
and parry, all of which are very defensive. Those are Yoshi's three strongest things.
It's exciting because aMSa is the one.
Now I'm like a big aMSa fan. Don't get me wrong.
It's like the Michael theory. Remember?
Yeah, it's like the Michael theory. I'm not a fan of Michael anymore. Ranks now.
Yeah, like once if aMSa wins the tournament, it's over, dude.
A real good question. What's the ugliest Marth color?
It's green. It's easily green. Yeah. If you don't pick green, you guys should taste.
So I think all Marths are beautiful. But if I had to pick one, I think it's green also. But I like all of them.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm forgetting a color. It's green, red,
white.
Default, white. I like white. White's my favorite Marth color.
Can I change mine to the black with EMP on the in the cape in 20XX?
Yeah, I think that's solid. Let's see. Are Chronotori's better than expected performances a good sign for Japanese players that have yet to come to the U.S.?
Yeah, I think the Japanese players are really strong. And I'm not just saying this because I lost to Tanzanite the Wanderer at EVO. I think Ko's really sick. And I know, like, I'm a big Sheik hater, but, like, I really enjoy watching him play. He's, like, the second coming of Flash, which is really exciting.
Well, Ko's his health main anyway.
You actually took that, like, straight up, yeah. Also, it's like Mexican, and he's from Mexico and Japan. I think he's another really, really strong player if you were to count him.
Yeah, I think I consider him more Mexico right now, but your point is...
You got, I'm pretty sure he got reverse 3-0'd by Bimbo at...
yeah, he did lose to Bimbo.
Yeah, he did.
Who's
Bimbo,
also
another player with quite a few, actually a solid amount of wins. It's here.
He beat Meds at the same tournament, which is hella impressive.
I don't get your question, Blast. Is there anyone you think could
Wait,
make
Steve,
top
did you answer it or no?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't know enough about Japan. So, I decline. I don't know what Blast... He said, is there anyone you think could make the top 100 if they made enough events?
Like I guess 200 people.
Yeah, there's too many of them, dude. It's so bracket dependent as well.
Speculative thoughts on the future of Mango and should his performances continue to decline?
Mango will never be lower than top 10. He'll never be lower than top 10. He'll always have reasons to enter tournaments. He can make top 8s, and he'll never not be able to make top 8s at any tournament.
Okay, but what if... I see it as a non-zero possibility that Mango is going to... Like, if Mango wins another EVO, he could just retire to be a variety streamer and commentator.
Yeah, no,
that's
think
definitely the opposite of the question, though.
No, yeah, I think he either retires.
The question was if his performances keep going down.
Then he retires.
If he wins Evo, that's a different story. He might retire after winning Evo, but I don't think he's winning Evo at this rate.
Yeah.
He might if he picks it up a bit. That would be a little bit scarier if you're a Mango fan. He might actually leave.
Guys, we saw Mango beat Armada and Hbox in the same day a few months ago.
Yeah.
Like
Mango's still good, but
is a bit much, I think.
You know, I definitely think this is a huge circle jerk. He's definitely had like 2 bad tournaments. People were like, "Oh man, his Evo was so mediocre." It's like, dude, he lost to like what, Plup and Armada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even
give me a break, dude. Like he's got a couple of not so good tournaments.
Like even in the premise of this question, like, oh, if he keeps doing worse, like he's not going to keep losing to borderline top 100 players. Like I don't think that. I think it's fair to look at this as an outlier versus a trend. No.
I also like. I think that it's a little disingenuous. Also, like thinking like I don't know. I'm sort of down on this train of thought in general. Like people say this about Wes, and they said it a lot during the ranking season where he was genuinely doing very well. Like, oh my God, Wes is so washed. Wes sucks. Wes is gonna be top 100.
That's my fault.
Like, shut up, dude.
Alex heard me like throughout the entire ranking period, just like go to town and defending Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, his
he ended up getting ranked exactly where he deserved.
Yeah, he was right around. Okay, Fairfax is coming in with the best questions. Favorite illegal stage?
Mushroom Kingdom 2.
Oh, Great Bay's dope. Great Bay's so good.
I like Corneria a lot.
Corneria's super fun.
Corneria's cool.
I don't know how you guys, I have just lost so much respect for you guys for not immediately saying that little area on the bottom of Hyrule Temple.
Dude, that's so lame.
Come on.
It's so lame.
That's like,
dude,
this is like...
You ever play people that can tech?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You'll be there all day.
Dude,
if I wanted to play bounce around the stage simulator, I would play custom stages in Brawl and just build the little box that goes around you, and that's what I would do.
Dude, all I'm saying is whenever I'm at my family's place, and like whenever my family gets together for whatever reason, my brothers go down to the basement and play free-for-alls in Hyrule Temple, and it's fucking awesome.
But it's so lame. You can just any stage where you can just like camping is the best strategy. It's just lame.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We don't camp. If you purposefully go to Hyrule Temple,
and you stay down there because you want to win.
Right.
I want to win. I want to destroy my friends and family mercilessly because I know if I go to a tournament, people are going to do the exact same thing to me. So I want to get my licks when I can have them. And
okay, the other secret best answer is the Entei stage from the.
That's a good answer.
I'm partial to Majora's Mask personally. I think that might be the best stage.
I like playing GameCube on the GameCube.
Oh, Great Bay is pretty fun.
Yeah, I already said Great Bay. You never listened to me, Edwin. You piece of shit.
No, I didn't listen to you.
There we go. Got him.
I definitely think Ambi gave me shit for calling this Pipes, so I'm gonna refer to it as its actual name. Pipes. I think playing Yoshi's Island as Fox is pretty fun because you can wave shine down the pipe or just up the right side against different characters. Shout out to Shine Blind, where I saw that for the first time.
I hate those block things that disappear when you hit them. I hate them.
Oh, I think they're hilarious,
That's
but
great.
I can see why people would hate them.
Had so much variety. It's like what's the trippy stage in Brawl, Haribo or whatever, Haribo, where the things change when you hit them. So much you can do so many cool combos.
Dude, Brawl was so good. Can we talk about Brawl?
Oh yeah,
like, do you guys remember playing Brawl for the first time?
Dude,
I got it on the midnight release. It was sick.
So sick.
So sick.
Subspace Emissary.
Subspace is sick.
It's so boring.
It's a Smash anime.
Play it again. It's so tedious. It's like repetitive platforming sequences with a very slow, floaty gameplay.
Yeah. So Brawl.
Smash tournament was a Brawl tournament actually.
What'd you say?
My competitive Smash tournament was a Brawl tournament. Brawl is kind of what got me into Smash in the first place. So.
No, I mean Brawl had a really big tournament scene that you can blame Mutaking for derailing its national ambitions for. For people in the chat that don't know, Mutaking was part of a splitting and bracket collusion controversy that got Brawl banned from the MLG circuit.
Yeah, with ADHD was the other player. Yeah.
Where's ADHD now, actually?
Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
New Jersey. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't like ADHD, but it's purely because of this one tweet where he called Zero Scarflord, which I think is very mean.
Oh yeah, that's not.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
That's a rude.
The whole
rude.
scarf thing was so. It's such a thing. Yeah, it reminds me of the watch thing that happened this weekend. Can we briefly talk about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, we haven't brought it up yet.
Thing?
The Hungrybox looking at his watch.
Oh god.
Oh god.
It's like.
We're gonna talk about this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. I brought it up. Who gives a fuck about Hungrybox's watch, dude? I'm definitely
apparently a lot of Smash Twitter.
It's so bizarre to me, right? Like of all the things, things to get mad about, like this dude rolled on stage at Big House, like whatever. Like he literally rolled on stage. He won Evo and then like bashed the floor, like you're gonna get mad at him for checking his watch?
Like foot for kicking a chair.
Oh my god.
I think that was the low point. The breaking of
openly rapped Kanye West lyrics in the middle of a set versus PPMD, and I'm pretty sure he started chanting "one more stock" in the middle of his set against Armada. Like,
it's this is like of the list, of the list of things that you could get mad at Hungrybox for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're really gonna get him for checking his watch because he's gonna miss his flight. Like. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
It just feels like all this pent up frustration. So like all the little things boil up. So people look at the little things. They're like, he didn't check his watch. Kill him.
I said this earlier to Anok, but so if you look at that whole tweet series, which may no longer exist, what kind of stands out is that Hugs doubled down like every time. Like he never apologized. He just kept doubling down and like.
He did eventually apologize and
eventually, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I guess it was just pretty obvious to me that he was projecting distaste that came from other areas into this one thing, and I think that's why he didn't want to take it back, because it was like
the dude just doesn't like Hungrybox. Yeah,
I have bad, but like I don't want to talk about it, so I'm gonna focus on this watch thing instead. But I won't apologize because.
It's because actually talking about it opens the floodgates, so everyone's gonna share what they dislike about Hbox, like their own interaction.
It's just so ridiculous. Like, dude, it's. I just think
because it's things like that. Funny. Like people will see it from far away. Like people like Ninja, right? They'll see it from far away and be like, "These guys are just dogpiling on Hbox for the dumbest shit ever."
Like Ryan Lockwood. You guys see that tweet? Oh my god!
What's the tweet
I for
about?
sure like that.
He who's he saying it to? Like,
is the guy who got banned from who got blocked by Hbox and he tweeted?
Yeah. That one dude, and Ryan Lockwood tweeted at this random dude,
calling him like a beta or something.
Oh. Ooh.
It's so good.
But I think we do all agree that. Getting mad at Hbox for looking at his watch is annoying, but like I do think that some of the other stuff he did at the tournament was more worthwhile of why it's
so funny that people blew up over this watch bullshit. Like it's like there was shit at the tournament that he did worse than the watch thing.
I know I actually feel for Hungrybox in that, like, obviously when you have one stock left and then the crowd starts cheering one more stock, that's a tilting thing. But if you then start chanting it next to your opponent, I think that's also gamesmanship, because it's like, you know, Mike Hayes' rule. There's a difference between someone chanting in a crowd behind you and having someone right in your ear yelling something.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting right next to each other, but no one said anything about that, and I think it's because Armada won anyway, so like it didn't matter.
Armada was thrashing him.
Yeah, it was...
I just think it's like it's so bizarre. Like this just feels so manufactured. Like Come on, guys.
No one wants to like talk about the deeper like issues they have.
Dude,
it's like
drop the tapes. That's all I'm saying. We all know you've got dirt.
Oh, man.
Drop the tapes.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, just
oh man. I think, is that gonna happen one day? Are we gonna?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Are we gonna see that? I wonder how that.
I mean, I think this is his lowest point, like as a public, like as a public figure, or even arguably like one of the, like, not face. Obviously, he's like a heel for us, but as one of the people that, is associated with Melee the most, like, given his status as a representative of our scene, whether he or we like it or not, like, I'm fairly certain like this is the absolute low. Like, I can't, and
I don't know if I agree.
I like even the Mango AMA, like I can't imagine that was, and I was around for that. Like, I don't think that was worse than this.
Really, I don't know, dude. Maybe he's like, maybe because he's more prominent now, but I really feel like that's like
people liked him for the AMA stuff. Like only now,
and people like him now.
The thing is like that.
He's definitely like the fourth most popular Smash hero.
Do you guys think that among like normies who don't follow the scene at all, Hungrybox is the most well known, or is that Mewtwo King?
Probably Mewtwo King.
Yeah,
or
I'd say
Mango.
Mewtwo King. It depends on who you talk to, also, as far like I think or sorry, well, you're talking about just like being well known. As far as perception of Hbox, I think the younger crowd like more empathizes with him, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they probably come in and see just like, oh, why does this guy get all this hate? And they don't like look any deeper than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's so much to go into on this topic. Like if we really wanted to, it's hard to talk about it reasonably because like so much of it is based around like personal accounts of why people don't like Hbox or like his behavior at events, whether it's like being mean to fans or really anything else. And like when a lot of the reasons behind why there is public distaste for someone, when a lot of the reasons are hidden or only gained through like talking to people directly versus like actual public discourse, then it leads this like really weird, difficult to navigate, like not aura, but just like this difficult to navigate and like tricky thing that follows Hbox around and completely changes how you see him.
Well, there's also the complicating factor that, like, undeniably some of the hate, and we don't know what proportion, we can only speculate, but some of the hate comes from the character he plays. You know, people do hate Puff, and like, and for that reason, Hbox can then turn around and tweet about how he's getting the hate because of Puff. So that really muddies the waters, you know, because
there's definitely like no nuance in this sort of discussion. The fact that people also dislike his character and not like his character is it's really obnoxious because, like, I don't know, personally, this is another potentially hot take. I think it's very reasonable to dislike the character. I think it's fake, dumb esports bullshit when people are like, you should just let him be, dude. He's just trying to play Jigglypuff. You know, like, it's lame. It's not fun to watch.
Everyone's
I think it's very okay to believe that things are not entertaining to watch, right? Like, nobody's forcing you to think that something's entertaining. It's definitely bad when like you shit on Hungrybox for Puff.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that like the proportion of people doing that is like very small, but big enough for Hungrybox to throw all of his criticism
all of it.
That box. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the problem because it muddies the waters. Like, if Hbox was getting hate for reasons that were more like legitimate, and then he complained about it, people could turn around and be like, well, wait, but you did this thing and that's why people hate you. But now he can be like, his hate is all because of this illogical thing. Like, I've been playing Jigglypuff for my entire career. Like, I can't change now, you know? And there's like literally no argument. There's no logical argument for that.
So the problem I guess we're talking about is that there are reasons that are not, there are like personal reasons that people don't dislike Hbox that they are not like public. They are not public about. So when the outside, when like the greater public sees Hbox getting hate from a vocal, not, I don't want to say like minority, but from like a vocal segment of Smash that hate his character, and he directly attributes it to that character, then there's an entirely different impression of why there's a lot of resentment against Hbox that's based around his character, and not the things that people are talking about privately and not like publicly. Like even right now, like at this and this is like really important to note, like we're not even going to detail on each like person's individual account. Like I'm pretty sure if you guys wanted to look it up, you probably could find a good amount of stories of why people view Hbox negatively. Like the fact that we're having this discussion right now, we're not even able to be more specific about it, should speak tones enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like get into gossiping about like what X person said about.
No, right. Like I don't want to get into that either. But it still reflects the problem that we're talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, there's no reason to yell Hungrybox for looking at his watch. Like,
yeah.
It's like,
I don't know why it blew up to be such a big thing.
It's so weird.
So,
like thinking about it, it's like, it's so odd.
Yeah.
Like I actually just can't wrap my head around why you'd care about that.
Alex, you and I talked about this a little bit before, but like about the idea that like Hungrybox, like his whole persona and image in the scene, or at least how he's perceived, is like this thing that has been built like by the people around him. And that's sort of like I don't want to say he's this monster that the Melee community created, because like, obviously I don't know him personally, so I don't want to make like a judgment of his entire character based on.
Okay, I think, and this also came out when we talked about this, but like this touches on something more, which is more broadly true, I think, which is that like all of the top players that we know and to an extent venerate, like they're all personas that have been constructed by the people around them. You can certainly say that about Mango. You can certainly say that about Leffen. I mean, even to a lesser extent, Armada. Like we don't know these people. We on a personal level, we just see what they put out and what other people say about them. So it's just really wading into risky territory to even try to make a judgment of their character based on the things that we see. You know,
yeah.
I don't know.
They all have skeletons.
I generally trust my friends.
I'm personally uncomfortable going into any depth about like these stories that we hear, because it's all hearsay. It's all like these weird little details that we learn. We get these anecdotes about who people really are, and then we like tack them on like we're playing pin the tail on the donkey to like this constructed image that they have, and it doesn't create an accurate picture of a person at all. Like you can hear a story about Hbox being a douche, and then you turn around and you pin that onto what we know about him as a player, which is that he plays this character that is perceived as lame, and people don't like it, and like it just dangerously conflates the douchiness with the character in a way that is dangerous. I don't know.
I think people do a lot of like weirdo psychoanalysis that like doesn't need to be made a lot of the time about this sort of thing. But generally, I trust the people that I've talked to when they tell me things about other people. That's sort of how I construct my social network of people. Like most people, I'd say.
No, I mean that's fine, but it goes into, but it's like this game of telephone, right?
Yeah.
That
I guess, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And you know, even I'm not saying I'm perfect either. Like I made a bad joke. Shocker, Edwin made a bad joke. Like I made a bad joke on like the first episode of like this podcast comparing Hbox's dominance to Ramsay Snow like doing well in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was a good joke.
It was a really terrible joke.
That was a good one.
It was definitely like extreme, but like even things like that, like I'm not beyond like
no
like
one's perfect. Yeah.
Having the negative perception of Hbox and going over the line with even like in well-intended like a bad comparison, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to decide what is the greater trend of what is actually Hbox, what is actually Juan, and then what is these stories, and also if is Hungrybox a different person than Juan, and where do we
I've heard this a lot before, and I don't really
I don't subscribe to this either.
Don't you think that most people in the public eye have a different persona of who they are with their friends, and then who they are to
No, I'm sure they do,
else?
but like I'm sure they do, but I don't think it's not as disparate. Like I don't want to like call out any specific names or anything, but just like it generally when people write about Hbox, there's this entire trope that like, oh, Juan is a different guy than Hungrybox, and I don't think that's I don't want to go into like too much like psychoanalytical territory, but I think that's kind of a convenient way of explaining away why people don't like Hbox. So I personally don't really buy it based on what info I have, at least.
There's just so much that we don't know or don't know for sure. It's so hard to make a 100% decision on anything. But I mean,
I don't know. I just feel like when people say that, it's just like a convenient thing that they say to.
It's
like,
meaningless.
Not make a judgment. Oh yeah, well, like, what do you mean, like Hungrybox, or do you mean Juan?
Yeah, no,
like
I've heard that about every single person in this match.
Yeah, sorry, like I'm not attacking you on this
save.
But you are pointing out like that's indicative of another trend, which goes back to a whole esports journalism conversation. Woo! on like the ability to actually like accurately not just characterize but show what someone is dealing with and like what's going on inside of them and how they are affecting the scene.
Fairfax brings up a really good question. Is version 2.0 overrated?
Oh,
yes.
No.
The answer is yes.
I think, I will say in terms of like whether the combos stand up in terms like technical.
They don't.
Skill, no, I don't think so.
They're not very interesting. It's not very well edited.
It's more like the moments.
It uses
like the historical moments.
It uses the music from a different combo video.
Dude,
it's like the historical moments. The amazing like commentator, the music with the gameplay clips, the editing.
It's like a 6 out of 10 combo video.
I think if you compared it with like unfairly
like,
modern standards,
like one word : a combo video, you know, like transcendent, a pew pew combo video, like spacing, a nun combo video. Version 2.0, just by virtue of actually having a cool name that kind of makes sense, is automatically better than like 90% of shitty combo videos that have come out.
Dude, just don't let this Fox man get away with defiling one of my favorite combo videos.
Dude, I don't know how you could say that. Rock the Crusher. That's not a cool combo video name. That's a sick combo video name.
That's a good name.
Perfect Dark. That's amazing.
That's a good one.
How about?
I'm not saying it has the best combo video name. I'm just saying it's good. I admit Perfect Dark and Rock the Crusher both better. I mean, I can come up with
keep calm and style.
Yeah.
Still broke a quality Steve combo video, one of the best combo video titles I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there's great combo videos out there.
Tipping and Illusion, just the time. That combo video was great.
Tipping and Illusion is good. I like the Shadow Sword series a little more, or the Shadow Sword a little more, but Tipping Illusion was one of the first ones I saw as well.
I Killed Mufasa, definitely the best combo video title.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
I Killed Mufasa's fan. No Di asks, can we talk about half the stuff in Enrique Nubs is set up? Okay, so we've talked about this on previous episodes of the podcast. I think Sleepy went into detail about how like he and Drug Fox like analyzed bits of Enrique Nubs where like in order for certain follow-ups to be possible, the person getting combo had to like smash DI up and in at this like very specific angle, and how like Sleepy and Drug Fox tried a bunch of times to recreate one of the combos, but they just couldn't do it because like hitting the smash DI was just like absurd.
Okay, you know what? It's fine.
You guys are such downers. You guys are such downers. It's fun to watch. It's so sick.
Yeah, totally.
I still get like chills.
That's all that matters, dude.
Completely holds up.
Dude, like, and like sometimes that shit just happens. Like, you ever watch the Wombo combo? Like that happened. You ever try to recreate that shit? You think about the shine up smash that happens in the middle of that shit? That's never happening. You can go for that 1,000 times. You'll never get it.
I like to imagine someone showing Ambi this video. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen Wombo combo, and he just points out everything that's wrong with it instead of being excited, or just laying awake at night, be like, nah, That wouldn't work.
Okay,
I still get chills down my spine.
Is the wombo combo fake? Like, is the wombo combo lame because you'll never hit it?
No,
like,
it doesn't matter if Ricky Nups is set up. All right, what matters
doesn't matter.
is that it happened and it's awesome.
So 600 hours is dope then.
Okay, so 600 hours, I have a very complicated opinion about. So part A, I think it wasn't that good. I think I've said this on previous episodes. If I was gonna fake a combo video, I would do way better than that. Like, are you kidding me? Dude, he literally lost to the adult Link combo video. Right? Like, the one that was real. Like, that's embarrassing. You got to set up your own combos in TAS. You had arbitrary time to do it, and you lost.
Dude, it was the Tupac remix. The Tupac remix kind of carried. 600 hours is still good, but the Tupac remix was so filthy, dude. Let's see if we have.
And two, part B is that he entered this in a combo contest or a combo video contest, and that's some lame shit. Take that shit down right now, Save. I don't want to give this another view. Stop giving this screen time. Like, he's getting ad revenue from this. I'm tight.
There's no ads.
Shoutouts to him actually putting ads on it after the controversy blew up in order to profit.
Yeah, I'm so surprised this is still up and on his channel. Good shit.
All right. But yeah,
what else do we have in the chat?
I think does Mango have a realistic chance to be #1 by the end of the year?
I don't really think so.
No.
No.
Even if Mango wins,
if he goes like Super Saiyan and wins everything, like he could. But like,
well, okay, wait. What's left? What big majors are left in the year? Shine, the Big House,
Summit,
GTX, Summit.
Well, yeah, like if he won all of them, sure, but like
I wouldn't be like.
No.
It would be pretty obvious that Mango was the best player if he won 4 majors in a row. But that's just not going to happen. It depends on your definition of realistic.
Jameis Vaughn asks, does Mango have a chance to win Shine?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mango
no Armada.
In every major he enters.
What? Oh yeah, that's fair enough.
No, he can win.
We saw Mango on a good day beat both Hbox and Armada on the same day at Summit only a few months ago, and I don't think that he has dropped off significantly since then. So if he could do that then he can do it now. I
think that like King, I would say had a less likely chance to win the major.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Like and he won something.
Agreed.
You know,
at least before the major, like when you saw the Marth bracket, like you definitely could have maybe seen it if he avoided Hbox. Which he did, but
it was
I think it's possible. It's not likely, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
Yeah, it's just like a very outside chance, and probably won't happen. But it's definitely there. He's definitely capable of doing it.
Like even if you were like the way I look at it is like people see the loss to like Flipsy and Army and think bad, but like the beating Hbox and Armada in the same day kind of is like the opposite side of that. So if you look at the results like in between that, so like 2 losses to Zane, doing pretty well against everyone else, like maybe probably slight negative on the rest of the Big Six, or like negative on the rest of the Big Six. Like it's still, okay, like it's like that still shows a very good player. No, the lights just went off automatically. I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah, don't sleep on Mango, but it's not likely.
But I would say I personally think that Mango of the Big Six is the least likely to win a major that he enters. Like nowadays, I seeded him 6th. For a reason. I would actually put him above. I would put him beneath King at this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't have any strong feelings
for seeding. But did you say you'd think King's more likely to win than Mango?
Yes.
I don't agree with that.
Win what?
Why?
Win a major. King's more likely than Mango, because King needs like another perfect bracket to do it. Like I think
he was a game away.
Yeah,
dude,
but because he had Armada.
Like, but yeah, to be fair, that's an anomaly. Like I don't think that's.
What's a perfect bracket for King? Just not playing Hbox.
Not playing Pup, not playing Hbox. He only is winning.
He needs. He can't run
play
into
Pup. Like he doesn't.
He can't run into Pup. He can't run into Axe. aMSa would be kind of scary, but he'd have to balance both.
He beat aMSa and Hungrybox like 2 days ago.
Right, but I'm saying I wouldn't count on that happening and like through winners bracket and him winning through losers. Like that's not something we would expect him to do on the regular.
I don't think it would be his best bracket. I still think it's doable.
Yeah, it's doable, but like there's so many people I'm iffy on for music.
Like is he beating Chudat?
No
is he beating Army?
Yeah, like all these players that are even there's a shred of a chance that he could lose to is more concerning.
Like maybe none beats him or something.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I mean, now that all these tournaments are on UCF,
none of them are on UCF.
Right,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Next question.
I think we're running out.
We did have a question about UCF or not UCF. We could talk about
you
that.
put that question in the chat.
No, I reposted that because someone else posted it and you didn't acknowledge it. I figured that you missed it.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Clearly you did because you think that I posted it.
No, I saw it both times. I just wanted to be a pain in the ass.
Oh, I just realized we didn't talk about Smash Masters. Do we want to talk about Smash Masters at all?
Nah.
No, I want to talk about UCF.
What's your opinion about UCF?
What is there
Andy?
to talk about UCF? I feel like what update do we have?
I'm really tired of people saying really dumb shit about UCF all the time.
But it's true. Funny
Memer.
meme. West Pulse hasn't gotten worse.
No, I definitely think that like UCF was meant to emulate PODE controllers, and to see players with PODE controllers complain about PODE controllers not being as good as UCF is like, dude, that's the whole fucking point. Like, if you don't like that controller, like, that's what you like. That's what UCF is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be emulating your controller specifically.
What do you mean by PODE controller?
So like controllers that have glitchy fucking inputs that like pseudo buffer inputs when you move them compared to up or down inputs. And like they're good for dashback and they're good for ledge dashing because you get like a straight down when you go at a diagonal for 1 frame because it like glitches out and doesn't update briefly. And it's like people don't like the PODE controllers because the UCF is better than the PODE controllers. And that's the whole fucking point. You know what I mean? It's like if actually like if dashback was supposed to be RNG, like if it was a 2-frame window, but you would get a tilt turn 20% of the time guaranteed. Like if it was coded in the game to be like that, would you want to mod out that random RNG element to backdash?
Mm-hmm.
Like no, like that's literally in the game. Like you have to factor in going for that if you want to do a backdash. Like it sucks. Like that's the game though. Like you're literally modding out like a random element to the game. And like the reason that like I would consider myself pro UCF is because there are like controllers in the real world that like kind of have this that like prevent this randomness from happening and like letting you get dashback every single time. And it's lame that you can go out and you can buy like a better RNG for this mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're not plentiful. Like you just go out, you can buy one.
No, sorry. Being able to afford a good part of being good at Melee. It's an element of games. I'm Drunksloth, and I think this is true.
No, I'm actually.
No, I don't think that's what Drugfox is saying.
Okay.
Drugfox was talking about the complaining a bunch and.
But like this is sort of what I'm getting at, right? Like if you have a PODE controller, then the idea of UCF versus non-UCF should not matter to you. Like in theory, because the whole point of UCF is to emulate the controller that you have, right? So like if you're talking about how like, oh man, I hate my PODE controller, like I know Rishi made some comments about his PODE controller recently.
Some comments, yeah.
About like how short hopping is difficult with the PODE with tap jump. So he's thinking about not using his PODE controller for vanilla. It's like, dude, like that's what that controller is what you were supposed to be emulating UCF. Like the fact that you're playing on UCF and you consider it superior to this controller that you already have is like, it's like proof that you're not playing the same game anymore. Like you're literally complaining about the randomness mechanic inherent in the game, not the controller. And like it's universal controller fit, not universal melee fit. And I'm like really tired of people being like, oh, well, it makes the game better. It's like, no, like it makes what you think the game should be better. The game is the way it is. You know, like if we're trying to mob the game to make it cooler, like we can get rid of Sheik, we can get rid of Jigglypuff, we could get rid of Stitch Faces. That's some bullshit randomness right there. Like, why would you have Stitch Faces? It's a random mechanic. It makes the game worse. Let's just make every single one a normal smiley face. Like no, that's bullshit. Like Stitch Faces are a part of the game. You get punished for letting your opponent pull a lot of turnips. Eventually you'll get a Stitch Face if you pull enough times. So like giving your opponent space to pull turnips is a bad idea. And likewise, you'll probably win if you do a backdash, but sometimes you won't, and you have to factor that in versus doing something that'll work every single time, like buffer shield, but which loses things like grab. And it's like, it's really dumb. It's really dumb when people complain about things that UCF was not intended to solve, and I'm tired of it. Still pro UCF though, because you can still buy PODE control. It's just like, I think people are really divorced from the original reason that UCF was created, and that bothers me a lot.
Ambi, do you have any thoughts on the adapter, the Arduino adapter or whatever?
It looks really cool.
Ridiculous.
So I actually am moderately for this, I guess. Conditional on the fact that they're provided by the TOs and that they have a standardized code set and that the code set is fine. I'm not about these external adapters that you can buy from like random people at the venue. I'm not about modding Arduinos in your own controllers. Very, very anti-Arduino. I'll probably end up reading Nintendo's rule set because apparently it's like a real thing now and not just like something that we used one time at a 64 tournament. So I'm gonna read it and I'll get back to you on that one. But I don't really like Arduinos, but if there's a standardized code set and they're used by the people that run the tournament, then I guess it's probably fine.
I'm just against, I mean, okay, I'm okay with them being provided at tournaments at every setup. The reason why I'm against the Arduino adapters is because I'm against anything that raises the barrier of entry into Melee. Like, if it becomes standard that, so to play Melee, you already need a cube, a copy of Melee, well, not really, but like, you know, in theory, you need a copy of Melee, a cube, and a CRT and a controller. Like, those are all things that are somewhat uncommon and expensive now. If you add this, like, custom-made hardware into it as well, that increases the barrier of entry even further. Whereas if it's something like UCF that can be like copied off of someone else's memory card at a local, that's I mean, it still increases the barrier of entry, but it's not nearly as prohibitive as like an expensive adapter. I just have a problem with that from like a almost like a populist point of view. It's just it doesn't bring Melee to the masses. It does the exact opposite.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the big thing with the Arduino isn't necessarily that it's superior to UCF. It's that they can use it and still get the network opportunities that they get for associating with Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's really what I think it comes down to. Like, I still have no clue what Nintendo sponsorships do for us, and I just have the repeated insistence from community leaders that they're actually good. But given their track record, the community leaders' track record, I really don't know if I agree. But like, you know, it's their career. They can do whatever they want. It's their event. And if they have a solution that like allows them to keep talking to Nintendo and to get those, you know, those points, that's fine. As long as it doesn't come at the expense of the community. Like if they're the ones that are fronting the bill for these adapters at nationals, like, you know, locals can just use UCF. No one's going to sue them for it. So if it's coming out of the pockets of like the big house to use these things, that's fine. I don't think you need one. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like essential for like the end user of Melee to have one of these adapters because like ideally they emulate UCF really well and like that should be about the same.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all the questions that we have. This has been a long but fun and good episode.
Yeah, some good stuff.
Yeah, so thank you guys for coming to hang out, and thanks, Alex, for coming on the show for the 19th episode.
Sure thing.
I want to give a special shout out again, like I'm now trying to make a habit of doing. Shout out to our 3 subscribers on Patreon, which I will link in the Twitch chat, and it should be there in the description of this video. Thank you, Jack Silla, money, and our newest patron, Good Guy Greg, for subscribing to the Melee.
Hey,
yeah, shouts to Greg. I love that guy.
Yeah,
yeah. Greg and I go way back. Greg, I remember Greg coming.
You guys went to school together, right?
Yeah. I remember talking to him in 2013, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm interested in getting into Smash." And now he's probably more involved in Smash than I am. So funny how that happens. But yeah, shout out.
He's super homie. I love that guy.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys want to join, you can click on the link. We're cool. We're nice people. We also have despite what we may come off as, we're actually quite approachable. You can join our Discord channel as well, which will be linked and hopefully in the description as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to our subscribers, of course.
Yeah, that's been it. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.